Celtics, the Patriots, the Sox, the Revs, and you. We're Boston's home for sports. 98.5 The Sports Hub.
Christian Gonzalez. Any thoughts on that as you enter camp?
We love Christian Gonzalez. We love him as a player, as a person. That's why we've made an offer to him that makes him the highest paid player ever to play that position in the NFL. And coincidentally, it's the highest contract in the Patriots franchise history. So we're glad we drafted him and he's developed here, and we hope he'll be with us for a long time.
Good afternoon and welcome in to 98.5 The Sports Hub. Andy Hart, Michael Hurley. Michael, how are we doing?
I'm doing great. How are you?
I was just thinking, before we get into the, first of all, we move on from Gasper and Murray, who had some very serious discussion late in the show.
Great to have Gasper back.
Absolutely, and he's bringing a perspective that he just acknowledged is different, and one that we don't necessarily have, so I don't think we have anything to offer in that area right now.
I have very little to offer in many areas, so that is one of them.
So I think we'll leave that to them, but... First of all, is this the first time we've ever done radio together? I think it is.
For sure radio.
Maybe TV a little bit?
We might have had an early edition. We have not crossed paths very much.
No.
That's why, we were down at camp today. I made sure, maybe we should talk a little.
Yeah, we had a nice chat on the hill at training camp. Do you hate me?
No. Do you hate me?
No.
All right.
I always,
after good stuff. We just
based on some of my experiences, I like to get that out of the way.
Yeah.
Because there are people that hate me.
I have a face that it's very useful in some, like when I go to the mall and there are people selling stuff, they don't bother with me. I've got resting bee face.
Okay.
So, I might give off certain...
So we might be similar in that way.
Yeah.
So you have some questions sometimes, like, does that person hate me or am I giving something off that's pushing them away?
And I'll be honest, I'm pretty aware. I'm hateable. So if someone hates me, I don't even begrudge them for it. I'm like, fair enough.
Could be, yeah. You're hateable, I'm hateable. Could explain some of the events in our career
Could be.
recent years. But
the
we're
Hateable
here.
Sports Talk Hour.
Boom, let's do it. Actually, we got 3 hours, 2 to 5, and I do feel like we have a lot to get to. Red Sox are rolling. My guy JB has a new running mate down in Philly. We'll get into some of that, but we, being the hardworking gentlemen that we are, we were boots on the ground today.
Sure were.
Gillette Stadium on the hill in the sun watching training camp, baby. I was pretty impressed that we were both there, honestly.
Yeah, just, off the clock. Just love of the game.
Absolutely.
Well, we're football guys.
And getting back to my roots from my old PFW, Patriots.com days, which then, like a half hour in, you forget, this isn't really practice, and this really isn't a lot.
And it's not even, in those days, you could say, well, wait till Wednesday. Then the pads will come on. Now it's just like, no, this is pretty much it.
Yeah, even Mark Capello was there collecting sound. 98.5, very well represented.
Yes.
There was 8-10 people down there from the station, if you include us.
There were 3 web guys. There was a kid I've seen around here. I don't know his exact role.
Jake Seymour?
No, not Jake. I know
okay.
Jake. There was someone, I don't know if he's an intern. It was well represented.
Yes.
For sure.
So,
in addition to Barth and Dolph.
But more importantly, I think, the guy you just heard about, the owner was there because it was Patriots Day.
I hate saying it.
Yeah, but good deed there,
Awesome.
Uniting puppies in need with homes and dogs with homes. So.
I'll say every player that took a dog out to the field looked to have enjoyed it, except for one.
Who was that?
The first one. Will Campbell was like, what am I have this dog with me? I'm trying to work.
Wow.
Everyone else.
And he needs the good PR. People wondering what he is. Was he a bust? Is he a tackle?
He's not a dog lover. That's what I saw at Patriots.
I don't think that's a good sign on Patriots Day. But Christian Gonzalez on the field, taking part in everything that is the first day of practice, engaging with fans. I saw him throw a ball, all of those things. So we hear from Robert Kraft. We hear Robert Kraft tell us, on his own, just kind of offered it up. We have offered him the biggest contract in team history, the biggest contract in the history of the NFL for a cornerback. So in case you forgot, I just want to give you what is the current biggest contract. That would be Trent McDuffie, traded to the Rams, and he signed a 4-year, $124 million extension.
That's $31 million if I've done the math right.
$31 million a year. You are a mathematician. And it's reported as, we always know there's a gray area in the NFL, but $100 million guaranteed money. So that's the bar that Robert says they are willing to surpass, and obviously it would put him past Tom Brady or Milton Williams or Christian Barmore, any of these big deals. Okay, the biggest in the world of Patriots contract on the table. So he's out there. His teammates were obviously asked about it. So before we get deep in this discussion, I think we want to hear from, let's go with how about the quarterback? How about the MVP runner-up? Let's hear what he had to say when he was asked about Christian Gonzalez being on the field today.
I think that shows his main focus, and that's football. He's the best corner in the league, in my opinion. He's not the big rah-rah guy. He does it his own way, but he does it at the highest level. So I'm glad to be his teammate. Around the same age, and he was, I tell him, Will, that he's my rook because I was the first round pick, and Will's the next. But Gonzo's someone I look up to. Even at the same age, I look up to how he does things, how he handles himself, and just his swagger he has in his own way. I think it's great to see him out here playing around, and I think you saw it in the locker room before. Everybody was wondering what's Gonzo going to do, and he's coming out here and first play, he's guarding AJ in man coverage. So that's the Patriots.
How about that? Drake May just admitted they're in the locker room wondering, is he going out there to practice? What's he going to do? But also, and you tell me if I'm reading too much into this, Michael.
You did pick up on this, and I didn't.
He just said he looks up to him. There's sort of a hierarchy, Gonzo, then May, then your boy at left tackle who doesn't like dogs. And he said he's handling his business. He looks up from him. He learns from him. So does that mean Drake May just told us next year, when he's looking for somewhere in the range of $500 million from the Patriots at $70+ million a year, if he hasn't received it, he'll be on the field practicing?
I guess so.
Words have meaning.
It is different, right? I mean, you don't often see quarterback injuries in the summer, but I suppose anything's possible.
Yeah.
Anything's possible. But yeah, I did miss that when he said I was right there. I missed the I like to see what he does, the way he acts, something along those lines. You're kind of like, all right, fair enough. But yeah, that is a good example to set. It's a good culture to set, I suppose. You think he's going to be out there without a contract? I'm surprised Christian Gonzalez was out there.
I would not be out there.
I would not.
So I actually wonder, is this done? Like, is it really done? Because I think I actually said to you when we were talking, either they signed some sort of Lloyds of London injury protection, or the deal is like legitimately done and the NFL is just reviewing it before they announce it. For Robert to come out and say that, and for Gonzo to be out there jumping, running, he's an ACL away from, you know what, we never signed that deal, so maybe that $100 million is no longer on the table. I wonder if it's done already.
I do wonder, and I actually wonder what's going on generally, because we're in there beforehand, and Mike Vrabel's asked, is Gabe Akis even in the region? And Mike Vrabel says, I honestly don't know. I don't know where Gabe Akis is. We go out to the field 10 minutes later, Gabe Akis signed his contract. So there's, I don't know what to believe, when to believe it. It was interesting, though, because Kraft starts talking about dogs and the Patriots event, and Christian Gonzalez walks right behind him. So I'm like, there's Christian Gonzalez going to work. I pop out, do like the picture, get that, and then I go back in, and it's like, he's just offering this. To me, it felt more like a gauntlet from Robert Kraft than a statement of, well, it's done.
Right.
It felt like we can't offer him more than the biggest contract in history. What else do you want from us? So to me, it felt like he better sign it. That's the message I got from not just, and that's 2 days in a row, if you ask me. Because Vrabel yesterday, that didn't feel like hey, we talked together and we figured out a plan. The way he talked about Morgan Moses. He says,
not yet.
The way he talked about Morgan Moses and said sort of, we'll map out a plan. He's a unique player. It didn't sound like, I talked to Christian. He's like, yeah, he better be out there.
Right.
That's what I took from it. And from Kraft, I took, he should sign it because we offered it.
So we have Christian Gonzalez on the field. We have Robert Kraft telling us, the world, that they've offered him the most money in the history of the franchise and the most money at the history of the position. What do you think about the status of Christian Gonzalez being on the field without, so far, we got 3 hours here, so maybe we'll get some breaking news, something come in official. But Christian Gonzalez is practicing. Drake May was out there. Michael Hurley, Andy Hart were boots on the ground in Foxborough. Now we're here to talk about it with you. 617-779-0985. Hart and Hurley on a Saturday afternoon here on 98.5 The Sports Hub.
Boston's home for sports. Not no matter what team, no matter what player, no matter what coach, no matter what game, it all happens here. 98.5 The Sports Hub.
Do you expect the New England Patriots to take a step forward or a step back?
It's a step back. And I love the A.J. Brown acquisition, one of the most dominant isolation receivers in football. It's what they had to do. to help the offense, okay? But it's not going to be enough. There's a couple reasons for it. Number one, we saw the flaws in the Super Bowl, and I know that flaws in the Super Bowl, a nice problem to have, champagne problems. Oh, we didn't look very good in the Super Bowl. But Will Campbell had allowed the most pressures of any left tackle in a game since 2018. That's a lot, and that's not going away. He's got those short arms. They're sticking with him at left tackle. They say he was hurt. We'll see what health looks like for him, but that offensive line needs to be addressed. And then I just look at a wide-open AFC. This is not Drake May's conference. This could be Joe Burrow's conference. This could be Josh Allen's conference, Lamar Jackson. It could be Mahomes again. Justin Herbert has an improved team and an offensive coordinator who knows what to do with him, a fellow member of the Geek Squad, Mike McDaniel. So there are so many different options. I've never seen a conference this wide open. I just don't know where the Patriots fit.
That was Kevin Clark talking about your Patriots taking a step back, which feels like the safest bet in sports. I mean, there's really only one step forward.
No, I got him at 15-2 this year.
Oh, nice.
Rolling right into the Super Bowl.
Oh, nice. Perfect. Yeah. So then you would disagree with Kevin Clark.
I don't see how it doesn't happen, to be honest with you.
That's Michael Hurley. I'm Andy Hart here, 98.5 The Sports Hub. Training camp has begun down in Foxborough. Both of us were down there today. The story of the day, I guess, was Christian Gonzalez on the field and Robert Kraft before practice saying the team has offered Gonzalez not only the biggest contract in Patriots history, but a contract that would be the biggest for a cornerback in history. And again, I'll remind you, that means it surpasses Trent McDuffie's 4-year, $124 million extension. How many millions per year is that, Michael?
That's 31.
31, and reportedly that includes $100 million in guarantees. So you think that was PR spin negotiating in the, hey, fans, what do you want us to do? You can't, as you said, you can't offer more than the most.
I would say yes, because let's say it was done. It's just signed in pencil as they, negotiate the last little dot their I's, cross their T's. Wouldn't he just say, I'm very we love Christian, which he did say, I'm confident we'll get this done, and we hope he's here for a long time.
Right.
Instead of saying we offered this, and you never know at this point of Kraft's tenure, he kind of says whatever comes to mind. So
he's earned that right.
What he didn't say is probably the more important part, which is guarantees. What is, per game incentives, et cetera, et cetera. Like, how much of this is money you can have right now in a signing bonus versus money that has to be earned, et cetera, et cetera. Because you mentioned McDuffie has $100 million. Stingley, in his $90 million deal, I believe $89 million of it was guaranteed.
Right.
So that's the number that should, if I'm a football player, matters, is the only number that matters. I'm sure they want to be higher in the annual, whatever.
Right.
But the guaranteed money, and that's the nitty-gritty of it that we didn't get today. And that's if I'm Christian Gonzalez saying, why don't you say that part, Mr. Kraft?
I will say, and you can agree or disagree, Christian Gonzalez looked like he was in a great mood.
Oh, yeah.
Bouncing around out there, practicing, playing with fans, like
going
energy.
Up against A.J. Brown.
Yeah. So I guess if I were going to read that would be, a guy that happy might be $100 million kind of happy out there. Because I'll go back to the Drake May comment we played in the first segment. Guys wondering in the locker room what Gonzo's going to do, basically. So you guys aren't really aware of where this stands. Is he putting his helmet on? Is he going to go out there with us? Is he not going to? And we don't need to remind people that these can go sideways. Matthew Judon, a couple of years ago, and I know different regime, different head coach, different everything, turned into a soap opera. Like he's sitting on a bag, he's arguing with Mayo, it's a video camera's caught it. There's all these things.
I was wondering what's Gonzo going to do.
Yeah, we were all wondering, and he went out there and he covered A.J. Brown and he covered whoever ran his way. And so is there something to see here or nothing to see here or somewhere in the middle?
I mean, he's out there. I'm kind of shocked by it.
Yeah, I would not be.
Inadvisable, I would say.
If you, as you said, pencil, no. Get the Sharpie, get the most permanent, and once my name is on that and your name is on that, I'll go out there.
And a part of it, I'm maybe a worrywart. Like, Romeo Doubs went down toward the end of practice along the sidelines. I'm like, yep. Boy, he's fine. He popped up. But it's not as if Christian Gonzalez has never gotten injured at training camp before.
Correct.
He missed 8 weeks last year because of a hamstring injury. So maybe a part of it is, he wants his conditioning at a certain level. They're not hitting. It is pretty safe, but nothing's 100% safe when you're going out there and you're going up against one of the best receivers in the NFL and you're challenging yourself. Things happen. So I'm surprised he's out there. I wouldn't say it's wise to be out there. So I guess I'm coming around a little bit on your idea that maybe this is further along than we think. But I haven't heard much about Weatherspoon having any sort of progress out there.
Nope.
So you still got to figure until that's done, they're not going to actually stamp it because, all right, Christian, you're the highest paid court. Wait, what's that? Oh, sorry, Weatherspoon makes more than you now, but you already signed. I feel like that matters. It's mattered for the past few years with each one of these guys that signs and gets $1 million more than the last guy. It feels as though that's the holdup, but I don't know. The fact that he's participating has thrown it all for a loop.
So yeah, and this is what we get into when we don't have any actual reporting or details or announcements. For example, your guy Greg Bedard.
Yes.
When Gonzo went at him, was that 2 weeks ago now on social media?
About that,
he added him like, oh, he's got something to say about me or whatever. That was the first time I was worried about the deal. Because I thought if a guy knows his deal is basically done, I don't think he gives a rat's ass what Greg Bedard says about it. If he's like in one of these movies and he looked at his account and it now says $100 million, transfer went through. Bedard, you say whatever you want. I'm a $100 million man.
He's not flicking over to X, the Everything app, and saying, oh, what the heck?
So that was the first time I wondered, are things a little slow playing? But okay, so I read that one way. Then I read his energy on the field and the fact that he's on the field. I, like Drake May, was wondering, and he's on the field. I read that as, it must be done. He's literally bouncing around before me. Literally. Okay, it must be done. So I read that one way. And then Robert's comments are like, we offered him the most money we could. What do you want me to do? Like, you can't get blood from a stone. I offered him all the money I can offer him. So I really have no idea where this stands. If he's getting good advice, though, I think you're right. It must be further along than we think.
I think, again, I go back to Vrabel yesterday. I didn't get the sense that it was like there was no leeway. It was, do you expect him to participate more now than he did in the spring? And Vrabel was like, yeah, we're trying to win football games. We're trying, and if it sounded like a sort of tough dad, sort of being like, if you want to be a part of it, we're going to need you out there. It didn't feel like an invite. It felt like more of a challenge. And I took Kraft's comments as kind of I don't know if challenge is the right word, but it felt like, the deal's out there.
Right.
The offer's on the table. He's got to sign it. So I don't know that it's resolved. I can't quite make that leap, but he's throwing me off by participating, looking smooth as hell out there. That's the other thing. Everyone's going to want to know, like, how did he do? A.J. Brown didn't look open.
Nope.
So he looked normal out there. He looked smooth.
He looks like a top 5 corner, which is what he is.
He just moves different than everyone. They were doing that drill right in front of us. Like, that guy's different.
Absolutely. You can tell immediately the guys that are different and the guys that are like, they're good, but they like got to work at it. The guys that are like, Darrelle Revis was like that. I used to call him the Cadillac corner because you watched him do things and it was just like that smooth, like no craziness. He felt like he was always in control of the situation against an elite receiver. And
very
they're
different from like Malcolm Butler, who was like sort of a water bug, who could get the job done.
But like you felt like you were kind of on the ridge of the mountain, riding your mountain bike, hoping you don't go over one side of the. And you rode it a long way, and it was nice, but it was a little scary at times. 617-779-0985. Let's work in your phone calls. How you feeling about Christian Gonzalez, who apparently has the largest contract ever for the Patriots, ever for a cornerback on the table, and yet we do not have any information yet of whether he has signed. So. Let's start things off. Let's go down to Connecticut. Chip in Connecticut. What are your thoughts on Christian Gonzalez, Chip?
So I would focus on the agent, right? It's a triangle between Gonzalez and Witherspoon, right? So obviously it's important to each one of those guys that they be the highest paid. And I think the key to it is the agent, right? He's got to sit them down and say, listen, this is going to go on forever because who's going to win, sit down and maybe make it a tie. You're both going to sign at $35 million a year average annual value. Maybe that's the solution. But right now, I think it's all up to the agent to kind of tell him what to do.
Thanks for the call, Chip. So they do share an agent, and in case you're kind of hazy on this, Devin Witherspoon, Seahawks cornerback, top 5 pick, top 8 pick, same draft.
Yep.
So similar career arc and age and everything that goes into it. They share an agent. Now, Mike Vrabel was asked, I believe that was yesterday, not today's press conference, and he totally poo-pooed it. Nothing. We're not negotiating with the Seahawks. Has nothing to do with Devin Witherspoon. You sure about that? Like comps and same position and same draft and same agent? Nothing?
And where Gonzalez has been a better player, Witherspoon's right there and was the 5th pick.
Right.
Like you said, so that probably balances itself out right there.
Right. And I wonder. I actually I don't know who it benefits more to sign first or second. Like you were kind of joking, oh, you're the highest paid corner. Oh, it's been brought to our attention. You're no longer the highest paid corner. Either way, the agent makes out. We'll say that first of all, because he's going to take his percentage of $200 million guaranteed, essentially. I mean, I guess I'd want to be gonzo and go second because I'm going to assume that Witherspoon, the higher pick, is going to get a big deal. And then the way things work, I get 5% more than that or whatever it is. So I guess I'd want to go last, but I also, you and I sound like we're on the same page. Just get the $100 million in my bank account. If I miss out on $1 or $2 million, I don't care.
Well, the reason that I say it's sort of NBA-ish, the way that it's gone with cornerbacks lately, because you had Stingley getting $30 million. And what did Sauce Gardner get? 30.1.
Right.
I wanted the guys to go like 0.05 more.
Right.
Yeah, take that. But now they seem to be making jumps and the cap's going up. So you just wonder what that is. Is it 32? Because if you're Gonzalez, that's a great deal. But are you looking for 35 because you're projecting out to the cap going up, et cetera, et cetera? To me, and this is the reason I'm a little shocked. Shocked might be over the top. A little surprised that Kraft offered that information to us because they've never operated that way.
Right.
How many times can you think where they're like, all right, we'll set the market, whatever. We got to do it. Never?
Right.
Is that a never thing? Like they paid Moss after 07, probably at the top of the market, but that's ancient history, and that's
and
minuscule compared to this.
Much more minor league dollars compared to what you're talking now. I do wonder, is this an insight into this is a new regime? This is Kraft at an older age with Vrabel, who's not the dictatorial taskmaster that Belichick was. Maybe this is because this is their first really big deal on retaining their own player of this era. I also wonder, did anybody in football, whether it's Vrabel or Elliott Wolf or Stretch or any of those guys, hear this and be like, oh my God.
We were so close, Robert.
Why did you have to do that? I do wonder. I always wonder, especially, and this may not be fair, I don't know if this is ageism or whatever, when you have an aging owner who's reached doesn't give a bleep.
That's what I was going to say.
Part, right? You wonder, was that tactical or he just, Jerry Jones, when I hear him, I wonder how many people in that organization sort of do the palm slap on their head like, we got to clean this mess up now. But
you ever listen to those radio interviews he does?
Yes. So was this tactical? Was this off the cuff? Was this accidental? Was this concerning to those in football operations?
It felt intentional.
It did.
It was immediately offered up. I think Mike Reese asked the question, Christian Gonzalez. It was general.
Kind of an open-ended question.
Reese wasn't like, Robert, what have you offered?
Right.
It was sort of, what's going to happen there? And it was the answer started the way you'd expect. We love Christian as a player, as a person, blah, blah, blah. And then he's like, we have offered him. And you're like, that felt as though it was on the talking point sheet.
Yeah, it did. But we'll see where it goes. 617-779-0985. We see your phone calls lining up. But Christian Gonzalez wasn't the only story of the day. I think you and I both had a few nuggets, and damn it, we went down there, so damn it, we're going to talk about it and make use of our eyes on the ground in Foxborough. Maybe some wide receiver talk, maybe some quarterback talk, a few more nuggets from training camp practice in Foxborough. It's 98.5 The Sports Hub. Andy Hart, Michael Hurley on a Saturday afternoon.
Boston's home for sports. Boston sports, yeah, we got that covered. 98.5 The Sports Hub.
Yeah, it's nothing new. You guys see it all year last year and the year before, and he just keeps doing things right. And I'm proud of him for getting in there, jumping in there, and he understands if he's got something down the sideline and a ball down the field that he's got a chance it's coming his way. So great catch, and I think that was the better start off camp with a little bit of a deep one. So we were 1 for 1 to start.
Patriots quarterback Drake May down in Foxborough today talking about a practice field deep ball to Kayshon Boutte, one of the many receivers Drake May is going to have to work with this year. It's going to be a very interesting position to keep an eye on, and I know you have a passionate thought on Kayshon Boutte that you have, I guess, a warning for people kind of thing?
I'm passionate about the Boutte. There's no doubt about it.
Okay, Boutte Island.
I felt like I'm on an island because everyone was sort of like, oh, you got A.J. Brown, you got Dobbs. Boutte's expendable. Get rid of him. And I get it from some degree, but clearly there's no market for him. There hasn't been a market for him. So what are you going to get? A 6th-round pick 2 years from now? That doesn't really help you, but there's something to be said about a young receiver. He's 24 years old. And this is not an anti-Mac Hollins take, but Mac Hollins is 32, has been on 6 teams, hasn't been on the same team for 2 consecutive years since 2021. I look at those two as sort of which one can you keep. And Mac Hollins, very valuable last year, very huge catch radius over the middle, very useful to Drake May on those big chunk plays over the middle. But a deep connection, a receiver's connection with a quarterback on deep balls is I won't say rare thing, but it's a special thing. And there's no guarantee that he'll have that with anyone else. That someone might come in. That whether it's A.J. Brown or whoever, you have that with Kayshon Boutte. And the fact that, did you notice today, multiple plays, you had A.J. Brown lined up on the left side. You had Romeo Doubs on the right side. What happened every time that happened? Someone else was wide-ass open.
Hunter Henry down the seam.
Hunter Henry in the seam, Pop Douglas across the middle.
Oh, yeah, pop pass.
Someone is wide-ass open. And you had Boutte last year going against Stingley in a playoff game. He's not going to see Stingley this year. He's going to see Mike Hurley or Andy Hart, you know? He's going to go up there and be like, really? And he's going to get open. And I think you saw today, it's just one practice. Drake May is going to be comfortable spreading the ball around, finding the open guy. I'm just not in any rush to get rid of a guy who's 24, who really popped last year. He had basically half a season before he had hamstring, then a concussion, slowed his whole thing down. I like Boutte on this team. I don't think he's going to get more than 50 to 60 targets, but he's going to do a lot more with those than I think someone else might.
And I would tell everyone, I think you just said they posted that clip on 98.5 Sports Hub on Twitter. Go watch it, because I think there's a certain glow to Drake May when he's answering the question that it's a visualization of the connection they have, that relationship they have. And he probably loves that. His guy, he knows there's a little talk of he's getting pushed down the depth chart, and boom, right on the first day, I hit him for a deep ball. Let's not forget what he's done for me and this team over the last year, and some big plays against big corners and big games situations. So before we get more into the wide receiver discussion, because I think it's an interesting one, let's go back to the phone line, 617-779-0985. Let's go to Dennis in Rhode Island. He has a thought on the Gonzo situation. What's up, Dennis?
What's going on, guys? So I want to double down on Hurley's PR take about the announcement of the contract offering. Because this morning I was listening to the Sports Hub Patriot podcast with Dallas and Barth, and what I found interesting was that Gabe Axe's agent is the same agent that represents Christian Gonzalez as well. So I just find the timing of the contract offering and then Axe's deal getting done interesting. I'm curious what that talk looked like. Did they get the Atkins contract done first, and then, in passing they said, oh, by the way, we want to make him the highest paid player, let's look at it? Or did they talk about that first for a long period of time and then get to the Atkins contract? I just think it's interesting, the timing of both of these announcements today.
Thanks for the call, Dennis. So I was not aware of that. I did not know that he also had the same agent as Christian Gonzalez and Devin Witherspoon. I will say, and I think you're looking that up to confirm it.
It's CAA for Gonzalez, which is, the top dog.
The organization, it could be a different actual agent, but there was a report, Jordan Schultz. I don't believe anyone else has sort of piggybacked or added to the report that Gabe Akis, the Patriots' second-round pass rusher, knee injury, last guy signed kind of guy, that they reached a deal. And that he'll be, I guess, in camp, even though Vrabel wasn't sure where the hell he was as of a few hours ago. But are we taking that as a fact?
You never
I don't
know
want
with
to rip
Google.
Jordan
You never
Schultz,
know
but
with
like...
Google. Oh, that. According to Google, Akis's agent is Win Sports, not CAA.
Okay.
So seemingly different silos. Are we taking? Right. You don't want to say Jordan Schultz is wrong. He's probably right. He usually is. Where are Schefter and Rappaport on this one?
Right. These guys make $10 million a year to be right or get it out there or spread it to their followers. And whether they credit the original guy or not, that's up to them and their journalistic integrity.
It's been 5 hours almost.
Yeah.
It's kind of strange.
Kind of makes me wonder. Or even a local guy. Mike Reese could have confirmed it.
Hey, is this true? Yep.
And
Yeah,
the fact that it is only Jordan Schultz, again, I don't want to throw shade or whatever you would call it to question it on the radio, but I think it's a little interesting that there's been no corroboration from anybody. Back to the wide receiver situation.
Can I ask you a question about the receivers?
Absolutely.
Did you notice as you're watching practice play out today, and they're in 11 on 11s. No,
I feel like I'm being set up for a
not
test.
a hard one. Not a hard one.
Were you paying attention?
Well, we're all, in and out. You watch, and you're like, all right, there's their 3-receiver set. Then the next snap, it would be an entirely new 3-receiver set, and you're kind of like, well, that could be a starting receiver set for another. It's been the story of the summer. Just seeing it in action, you're like, damn, they got a lot of receivers.
Absolutely, and this is such a turnaround for a team that, as recently as a little more than a year ago, you were like, do they have the worst receiving core in the NFL? Is it bottom 3? Is it bottom 5? I think you flip the script and start talking about how good can this group be? Because the guy that stood out to me, and I think you as well to some degree.
We were taken aback by this.
Romeo Doubs.
Big fella.
Romeo Doubs is much bigger than, for some reason, my brain thought he was. Because as soon as we get there, your eyes are drawn to like, okay, A.J. Brown, I'm going to find him. And standing next to him is a Gronk-like 87. And you're like, so he's the same size as, because everybody knows A.J. Brown's a big receiver. Romeo Doubs, also a big receiver, standing next to A.J. Brown, and then also went out there and had a nice practice for himself. Got a bunch of targets, had one nice sort of reach-back, twisting catch that he then bounced, and it was like, is he going to get up? Does he have a back injury? But nope, he got up.
He hit the deck a lot.
He did, but I left this practice as a buyer on Romeo Doubs, which is stupid because it was the first one and it's not a real practice. But that's what we do, right? We have to react. We had a practice. We watched it. We put value by going, so I'm going to react. Romeo Doubs looked really good out there.
Yeah, and the size was striking right from the get-go. I was down. Were you at the doggy the Paw Patrol event?
No, I didn't.
Okay,
so I didn't know that Will Campbell hates dogs, according to Michael Hurley.
He seemed to be focused on practice.
Oh, that's good.
Yes, he seemed to be focused on getting to work, and the dog was just sort of a speed bump.
What kind of dog was it?
I don't recall.
A mutt?
He was the first one on the practice field.
See?
Will Campbell. He wanted to get to work. Yeah. So the dog thing, he's pro dogs. I don't want to spread blasphemy. But we had sort of a cool vantage point of the entrances from there because now they're coming up from the back. And one of the first, I'm like, is that a tight end? No, that's Romeo Doubs.
Yeah.
He's got size, and it shows itself in different ways. Like DeAndre Hopkins was also out there, Coach D Hop.
Yep.
My eyebrow was raised on that one. I don't believe he's
a coach. He's in coaching attire. Didn't you listen to Vrabel? He said it 3 effing times. How many times you want him to say it?
If the shirt says coach, guys, that means he's just a coach. But he had different size too. It's just funny seeing these guys that, their dimensions are on the roster, but when you see them all next to each other, you're kind of like, they all look. Because to me, A.J. Brown is a huge 6'1", an enormous 6'1", and Doubs is probably an inch taller, but seemed much larger.
Absolutely. And for us as onlookers of the Patriots who lived through Smurf receivers forever, where everybody on the roster was under 6 foot or barely 6 foot, suddenly you have A.J. Brown, Romeo Doubs. Mac Hollins is a big, yoked dude who wears... He's kind of. Have you seen this shirt that he invented?
Kind of Ultimate Warrior-esque.
Yeah. And it supposedly like dries faster. He has this whole theory. He created like a radiator type shirt with all the. It's sliced down so that it like they blow in the wind and it's supposed to dry fast.
I think I think I would get along with Mac Hollins, but also in saying that he's a lot.
Yeah. But he's a big receiver, and they have those. And then it reminds you when Pop Douglas, as you mentioned earlier, one of those plays where he flashed across the middle for probably a 30, 40-yard pickup. Oh, yeah, he's the little guy that could probably take advantage of this size and the opportunities in the middle of the field.
Yeah, and it's one of those things we understand and we expect. Like, A.J. Brown's going to need 100 targets, right? He's your top at minimum, right? That's sort of the starting line. Is he going to be okay? Let's say we're moving down the line. Let's say it's November and he's not on that pace because he is drawing such attention that Pop Douglas, if he's on the team, is open, that whoever else that is just wide ass open in the middle of the field is getting the smart play from Drake May. Is that going to be an issue? To me, that's a great thing. But
Absolutely.
You never do quite know how that's going to play out in reality.
So I think, and we see your phone calls lining up, 617-779-0985. I think Josh McDaniels loves this because I think he loves personnel groups. I think if he could have a different personnel group / formation every play all year long, I think he would. Mm-hmm. And I think he's going to eat this up with what you were talking about. Oh, this looks like it could be the top. This actually also, I get a lot of these.
Right.
Throw it in a hat, pull one out. Now, the flip side is I think that puts a little pressure on the quarterback, Drake May. Not just, snap to snap, but what you're talking about. usage rate, as they would say in the NBA, and how many balls are being thrown is and I don't want to be the negative radio guy, but is, A.J. Brown reading a book on the sideline about how to keep his temper when he's not being appreciated properly by the quarterback and the offensive coordinator. So, yeah, they have some riches at wide receiver, but it could be interesting.
You know what? We got to go back tomorrow. We got to ask. I'm sure A.J. Brown will talk tomorrow, right?
Damn right.
AJ, will you be upset in November if you're not getting the targets?
Maybe we'll actually have him on 98.5 The Sports Hub. I believe I'm going to be down there with Matt McCarthy 10 to 2.
Okay.
And we usually get a live guest or two, and usually it's somebody who speaks at the podium. A.J. Brown didn't speak at the podium today. I got to think he's on the short list for tomorrow.
Aim high. I want to do, if we're doing big dudes talk, I want to get this in. You know who else was big?
Who?
I didn't notice him once during practice, but I noticed him before practice. Eli Raritan.
Oh, yeah.
Big rookie.
And big opportunity because it's Hunter Henry and ... fill in the blank, and maybe Raritan will be that guy. 617-779-0985. Andy Hart, Michael Hurley. On a Saturday afternoon, we got 2 more hours here to continue to break down everything we saw at Patriots training camp. We're going to get into the Red Sox, and we're sure as hell going to get into Jaylen Brown, LeBron James, and the Philadelphia 76ers. All that and your phone calls next here on 98.5.
Boston's home for sports. In this town, sports happens 24/7. We're Boston's home for sports.
Saturday afternoon, and it is a beautiful day in the state of Massachusetts and probably all of New England right now.
I was just saying off the air, be a nice day to be walking into Fenway right now.
Yeah.
It's a beaut.
Couple Miller Lights ready to go. Good day. Maybe a hot dog mixed in. Take your shirt off because that's the thing to do at Fenway now that everybody does.
I am. This might surprise you. I'm quite anti-tarps off. It's disgusting. It's just, or do it, but don't show it on the TV, please.
Oh, they show it all the time.
Please stop zooming in on this man.
Unless, if it's a little kid, okay, that's cool. Whatever.
I've been meaning to say that, and shout out to the little kids as well. I was at the Yankee series. My brothers brought me as a Father's Day gift, all that. Shout out to them. They are Yankees fans, the one who did this to me. But shout out to the Little League. It was from Milton. So if you guys are listening, the parents of Mulligan and Donovan, you guys kept the fans in there and engaged.
Wow.
Tarps off might have originated then and there, So a shout out to the Red Sox fans. They are bringing the energy this year.
Absolutely. You win a few games and everybody's happy and they're taking their shirts off. So let's go back to the phone lines. 617-779-0985. Let's go to Mike in Watertown. Has a thought on D-Hop. What's up, Mike?
Yo, fellas, happy Saturday. Miller Lite and a dog sounds incredible. So might have to make that happen. Do you think it's past Vrabel to pull DeAndre Hopkins into this training camp to take the pressure off of A.J. Brown as the new kind of Steph Diggs / senior guy in the room? And, just wonder what your thoughts are on that.
All right, thanks for the call, Mike. What are your thoughts on that, Michael? Because you seem a little dubious of D-Hop, the coach.
So he had terrible numbers last year. I think he had 330 yards, 2 touchdowns. He played 17 games for Baltimore. He's 34, I want to say.
Okay.
A borderline Hall of Famer, probably, maybe not, maybe he is. You could have that conversation on another day. He is a great NFL receiver with 13 years of experience. I have a hard time believing he's like, all right, time to roll up my sleeves, get in the film room and coach. I feel as though, and there's actually an interview he did. So yesterday I started looking into this because Vrabel offered that out of nowhere. No one asked, is DeAndre Hopkins here? He just offered it. This is a quote from DeAndre Hopkins in June. Let me just make sure I have it here. I still got a lot of ball left.
Oh.
Going into year 14, I would love to play for a competitor if that time came. But I'm not in no rush to go out in the regular season and be a regular season superstar. Because for me, I'm not getting a contract extension. He said, the regular season's for the young guys. I think this is a guy that wants to join a team in November for the stretch running into the playoffs. And I would think he's working the Rolodex. He has a relationship with Coach Mike Vrabel. And you never know what's going to happen. Maybe this team, which we said has a ton of receivers, maybe there's no room to bring in DeAndre. Maybe there's an injury. Maybe things aren't working out. I think come November, DeAndre Hopkins is going to circle back with whichever teams. I think he's going to another team after this.
Okay, so you think he's just here for a short period, sort of take it in. So this is almost like a LeBron recruiting tour, like see what you got, and then I'll file it away for when I'm ready to play.
And as you pointed out, which was obvious yesterday, where Mike Vrabel was like, I spoke to the National Football League and ensured that it was okay for him to come in this capacity.
Absolutely.
There will be no D-Hop gate, though. it could give me something to do for a couple weeks if we want to get into it, an investigation. But no, I feel as though, and you saw him today, he's out there. Is he going to coach?
No. I can't, and I was not aware of those comments. Now that I've heard those comments that are a month old.
1 month.
1 month
June.
old. Not June of 3 years ago.
June of 26 with Sirius XM.
Yeah, I was not aware of those quotes. It sounds like he's going to play this year, and I think you're right. It's a little different spin. But you remember when they had Brian Waters, who didn't want to come to camp and then signed like August 29th and was ready and went out and had like an all-pro caliber season, a Pro Bowl caliber season for them for 1 year at guard. Seems like something's going on here. Roger Clemens coming back mid-season. By God, that's D-Hop's music, whatever. Something's going on here.
Yeah, I just feel, and he, even in that interview, you listen to it, and he sort of, I don't want to say explained himself, his numbers from last year, but he kind of said, I was used on third down last year. I wasn't used in the red zone at all. So I'm sort of a specialty player at this point in my career. I think you sort of heard his pitch. I think, it's harmless to have him out there. I don't think it's any negative. I'm sure A.J. Brown likes to talk to him. I'm sure there's some, superstar wide receiver conversations happening. I struggle to believe this guy's going to get into coaching.
So does D-Hop have a future with the Patriots? On the other side, we'll tell you one more person down in Foxborough who seemed a little bit enamored with DeAndre Hopkins. I think an important person, a person who might have some sway and some say as to whether D-Hop later in the year is an option for your New England Patriots. And your phone calls, we still see you lined up, 617-779-0985. It's Hart, it's Hurley, it's Headlines on 98.5.
From the Town Fair Tire Studios, this is Boston's home for sports. The flagship station of the Patriots ruin the Celtics. WBCFM and HD Boston 98.5, the Sports Hub. Beasley Media Group station celebrating 65 years of broadcasting. Sports Hub headlines.
The Boston Red Sox 6-4 winners last night with a late rally against Toronto. Will it be the start of a new winning streak? You'll have to find out this afternoon. Sonny Gray will get the ball for the Red Sox, opposed by Dylan Cease. First pitch about an hour from now at Fenway Park. The Patriots took the field for the first day of training camp today. Owner Robert Kraft said the team has offered a contract to Christian Gonzalez that would make him the highest paid cornerback in the history of the NFL. Gonzalez did participate in that practice section. According to Jordan Schultz, by the way, the team has signed second-round pick Gabe Akis. And the Revs are in action tonight at Gillette Stadium, where they will host Atlanta United. That match starts at 7:30, and you can listen to that right here on 98.5 The Sports Hub. Sports Hub headlines brought to you by the Lobster Lovers Weekend at the 99. Order a colossal or hot buttered lobster roll and get a free 3-course meal upgrade this weekend only. You gotta love the Nines. I'm Michael Hurley. Next Sports Hub headlines in an hour.
Diving effort. He's got a breakaway. The backhand. Throws it in front. Coming to the spot. The Sports Hub. When it comes to Boston sports, we're fans just like you. 98.5 The Sports Hub.
Here. Like, camps are open. Teams are practicing. The Hall of Fame game is on the horizon. Like, we're rolling, baby, right? We're headed towards football.
I was literally, you saw my fingers. I was starting to type, when's the Hall of Fame game? August 6th?
Yes. That is right around the corner.
It's basically August.
It really is. We got the trade deadline for MLB and then the Hall of Fame game, and we're rolling, baby. Football, Patriots, open on a Wednesday, so, like, the regular season actually starts earlier than you'd normally think.
It's exciting.
How'd we get here?
Exciting.
It was just Super Bowl.
This is the time of year I want to just squeeze summer and not let it go.
Oh, yeah, me too.
But it's fading.
It is. It is. Yeah, unfortunately, I've lived this life a long time when you're sort of tied into football. And a lot of us don't have the NFL calendar where they literally take like a month off right before they start, so they get a nice 4 weeks of summer. Yeah, it just as everybody else is like, oh, August is beautiful. You're like, yeah.
Never been.
Haven't experienced that unless you mean on the little grass hill in front of a media tent waiting for Drake May to come to a microphone. That's how I experience August.
It wasn't always like this. It feels as though this is the season. I feel as though this is a moderately new development where August 3rd is covered with, breathless reporting.
Yeah,
all the way down.
Yeah, no, it's here, and people want to talk about it. So let's get back to the phone line, 617-779-0985. Kirk in Holbrook has an interesting thought on one of the abundance of wide receivers. What's up, Kirk?
What's up, guys? Happy Saturday afternoon as I sit in Home Depot parking lot right now contemplating my life. My thing is, we got such an abundance of wide receivers, and like you guys said, Mac Hollins is pretty yoked. What if Josh has his way with Mac Hollins and is able to use him like the former 81 before Randy Moss and line him up everywhere and use him as a second tight end with Hunter Henry?
Thanks for the call, Kirk. Michael Hurley.
Yeah.
So there is a lack of depth at tight end and an abundance of bodies, some of them large, at wide receiver. Mac Hollins, and I know you're not supposed to probably say the name. He was scrubbed from the record books. He's alluding to Aaron Hernandez as a move tight end.
Yeah, I wouldn't. Yeah.
I don't think there's that skill level with Mac Hollins. Don't mean to be rude, but
No, I've had this conversation with my friend Doug this offseason.
Oh, hey, Doug.
As we try to solve the tight end issue.
Yeah.
Mac Hollins, A, is huge.
Mm-hmm.
B, is a nice route runner.
Mm-hmm.
C, is a dedicated blocker.
Mm-hmm.
He makes sense in I would say even more traditional tight end. I wouldn't even say in that sort of move tight end. Obviously, he would be. But he's big enough to be in the box. He's big enough to line up right off the line. I don't hate it because let's say, and I like to use the lightest injuries possible when having these. I don't like to be Mr. Doomsday.
Okay.
Let's say Hunter Henry's playing a football game and rolls his ankle. It's the second quarter. There's 14 minutes left.
Okay.
He's got to go in the locker room, get taped up. He's going to be fine. But you got 4 series of football. You need a tight end. Eli Raridan, you going to be ready?
Yeah.
Yeah?
I don't know.
I doubt it. The rookie tight ends rarely are.
No.
So wouldn't you feel somewhat comfortable, as long as he could learn it, to say, like, Mac Hollins you're the tight end now. In an era where, Travis Kelce is an all-time tight end, Mac Hollins might be better fit for the position than some of these guys these days. The way that they've become receivers, I don't hate the idea. It might be insane, but I don't hate it.
I don't think it's insane.
Okay.
And I don't hate it either in what you're describing. I don't really want that to be the plan on July 25th. I would like you to seek out a better plan. If that doesn't work out and you get to said game where Hunter Henry and Eli Raridan's not break glass in case of emergency, I think Mac Hollins makes a lot of sense for all the reasons you just listed. Most notably, I think he's willing.
Yeah.
I used to joke with Christian Fourier about this when, Joe Gibbs would ask him to down block on a 300-pound defensive tackle. And he's like, I don't want to do that. So I missed the block so they wouldn't ask me to do it again kind of thing.
Right.
I don't think Mac Hollins will do that. He'll give you what he has. He might get blown up.
And he looked like the biggest of the bunch today.
Absolutely.
Like A.J. Brown's a big dude. He looked tiny next to Mac Hollins.
And shredded.
Yeah, he's a big dude. And that's the thing.
Yoked.
When you talk about the willingness, and I mentioned it earlier as sort of a negative, he's been on 6 teams, I want to say.
Yeah.
Philly, Miami, Raiders, Falcons, Bills, Patriots. That's 6. And it's a new team every year. I think he liked it here. I think Vrabel he fit in. He was a big part of the culture change, everything like that. I think you could get him to sort of say, hey, Mac, do you think you could help us in this area? I think he might be for it, because if it's like that or getting cut in August,
right?
Or I don't think he wants to go somewhere else.
Even just, do you want to be the 5th receiver or the 2nd tight end?
Yeah.
Just kind of a numbers game. Like, you're going to be further down.
Yeah.
Opportunity for you. And also, given his, I don't know how we describe, unique personality and some of the YouTube stuff, he seems like a guy that would embrace a challenge, would embrace an opportunity to prove himself.
Yeah, and at this point, I mentioned that quote from DeAndre Hopkins. I don't know how many contract extensions are in Mac Hollins' future. He certainly looked great last year.
Right.
Super useful. Also suffered a lacerated spleen because of how physical he plays. So It's a sort of double-edged sword. But I think if he has a good thing going, let's say he were to get cut, he'd get picked up somewhere.
Sure, he's an NFL player. He's
but
a
I don't think you want to, if you can avoid living that life, that sort of NFL vagrancy, I think you could avoid it.
Especially for a good team. You're expecting them to compete, for the division, go to the playoffs, I don't think they'll have the same, motivational movies off the field that he was such a big part of, but, he's a part of this team, and I would argue he might have a bigger leadership role post Stephon Diggs, who was the energy, the lightning rod in the center of that. Don't you think Mac Hollins might be the personality of the wide receiver position potentially?
Yeah.
It doesn't seem like A.J. Brown is overly talkative or outspoken.
Milton Williams said as much today when asked about AJ. He's like, you won't hear from him much, but when the lights are on, you'll see him and you'll notice him. But one other thing, and I used it as kind of not really a negative, the fact that a lacerated spleen is a scary injury. He missed maybe 4 weeks, came back and played with that, which to me, when we found out what that injury was like, I'm not a doctor. That's nuts.
Yep.
So he brings a lot to the table. I don't know if what we're saying is sort of would we get laughed out of a room of football guys. He just seems like a player that could make that adjustment.
Yeah, and I don't think we're asking him to be Gronk and throw people out the club. Be good enough. Be reliable. And I do think to sell it to him, there's this idea, well, are you going to bump A.J. Brown, Kayshon Boutte, Pop Douglas, or Dobbs off the field? Well, what if you could be on the field with them in a different role?
And what if you look up, you break the huddle, you get to the line, and there's a linebacker trying to cover you?
Right.
There's a lot of positives
Some
here.
space. You might make a name for yourself and have a little fun, and people will be doing interviews, talking about you. 617-779-0985. Let's go back to the phone lines. A different career crossroads, maybe wide receiver, is the topic that Dean in Shrewsbury wants to talk about. How's it going, Dean?
Good. So even if there was a first-round pick on the table for Boutte, I'm not trading him. This is a guy who can come in once A.J. Brown's time is done for here and be a number one wide receiver as a deep threat. His passer rating to deep balls to him last year was almost perfect. So I don't know why the NFL isn't valuing him more, but I am not trading him for just about anything right now. I think he has a really strong future as a number one guy.
Thanks for the call, Dean, and I hope you enjoyed those Miller Lights you've been enjoying all day. What do you think of that take, that not even for a first-round pick, and he is the future number one of your New England Patriots?
There's some projection there, but we got to stop that because it's you're going to lose us. All of a sudden, you're going to see us walk out here. I don't know if you watched the show. What's the new Vince Gilligan show that was on where they all turn into zombies, basically?
Haven't seen it.
Pluribus.
It's way above my pay
Pluribus.
grade.
That was just going to be us just walking out and finding us.
If he plays that
a
again.
cold Miller Lite. But no, he was on a pace last year through 8 games for 860 yards and 10 touchdowns, which isn't number one, but it's great.
Double-digit touchdowns in the NFL
I don't think that was sustainable because he was catching every deep ball thrown his way, but he was on pace for it. Then he had the hamstring the following week, and then he came back. He had the concussion on the worst missed pass interference call in the history of the league, and it sort of distracted. So I do think before we jump to that conclusion, he's going to have to do it. But I think he's still so young. He's 24. There's guys that were drafted this year that are probably Kayshon Boutte's age, and he's entering year 4. So I think I don't think he's a number one, but I think the work that he did last year, and now not to discount Diggs, but Diggs wasn't the downfield threat that we think. A.J. Brown's not a great downfield threat at this point of his career, but he's got such a big body. He's going to get jump balls.
Right.
The way that he was the guy and came down with everything, it's a pretty rare talent. Like that's a pretty special thing. So I'm not sure I'd give up. If someone was offering a first, I would take it. If someone was offering a second, I'd probably take it because you're not going to be able to pay this guy next year.
And the flip side of that from Dean, I kind of need A.J. Brown to be the number one receiver on this team for a few years. You just traded a first-round pick for him.
Correct.
You're paying him good money now, and I'm guessing he's going to be looking for more money after this season. So the way you're invested in him and will continue to invest in him, doesn't he have to be your number one for like 3 years bare minimum?
Unless you can pull a Howie Roseman and get a first rounder for him, but I think that that was a magic act.
I think that ship has sailed a little bit. So I don't know though. It's definitely safe to say the most interesting position on the team is wide receiver.
Yeah, and like I said earlier, they just rolled him out. It was like a hockey game. Here's this line.
Yeah, line.
And then there's another play, and you're like, whoa, this is a good 3 receiver set. And then
where are we?
It's a whole other one the next play.
Are we in New England and we're excited about our wide receiver core?
You know what? I've been on this. I mean, we kind of came to it. Remember last year, the trade deadline? You're like, let's say they get Rashid Shaheed. Like, where would he fit in?
Right.
Who do you bench for him? And you're kind of like, well, they're in decent shape.
And now you added Dobbs, you added A.J. Brown. You got a Kyle Williams ready. We haven't even mentioned Kyle Williams.
I got a hot take on Kyle Williams. You want me to save him? Save that?
Guess what? Up next, Michael Hurley has a hot take on Kyle Williams. We'll continue to take your phone calls on the Patriots, the opening of training camp, Gonzo, and everything going on down there, 617-779-0985. We'll also, at some point here, transition, going to talk a little Red Sox because, I mean, the Patriots are practicing. The Red Sox are winning. Feel like we should acknowledge that, so we will a little bit later here on 98.5 The Sports Hub. Hart and Hurley on a Saturday afternoon.
Boston's home for sports. 98. Bruins, the Celtics, the Patriots, the Sox, the Revs, and you. We're Boston's home for sports. 98.5 The Sports Hub.
First and 10, New England from the 37 of the Ravens. Snap is back to May. He loads up. He throws a long ball down the right side for Kyle Williams. He has it. He falls across the sideline. He's in the end zone. Touchdown, Patriots.
Cash money. Get your dance on. I can't believe it. Kyle Williams again.
Made a grab like that down the left side. On his last touchdown catch as a rookie, and here it's over the right side.
Oh, what a catch.
Over the shoulder.
That's
Beautiful
a bucket throw, man. Big time
Tough
bucket
catch for the young receiver looking back, tracking it all the way. And the Patriots will go for 2.
We sifted through the many highlights from Kyle Williams' rookie season. We pulled that out for you. By the way, Zoe said bucket throw. Just to want to clarify it. It almost sounded like something you're not supposed to say on the radio, but it was a bucket throw to Kyle Williams, who, if it weren't for Romeo Doubs and A.J. Brown, and that's a big if, I think there would be a lot of chatter about year 2 and breakout and deep threat and speed and production last year on a per-catch basis kind of stuff. Otherwise, we haven't really mentioned him. Are you a Kyle Williams guy, or is he another long line of drafted receivers that isn't going to pan out?
I can't say that, and I hate to be that guy that's just so negative, but I think there's an element having, like I said, spent the summer on Booty Island. There's been this push, like, you got to get rid of Booty. He's in Kyle Williams' way of development. And to that I say, like, this isn't a developmental league. This is a production league. And yeah, you spent a 3rd-round pick on him. You made a choice by you being the Patriots. Last year, 2nd round, there's a number of 2nd-round receivers on the board. You went Travion Henderson. You wanted the athletic back who could change your backfield, who I think still can. He had enough last year. He showed some flashes that I think that pick was fine. And as a result, the receiver you got was less than.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I was asked the other day on TV.
Is this your hot take?
This is the hot take.
Let's go. Hot take alert.
I was asked for the surprise cut because that's what you got to do before camp. Oh. And I think Kyle Williams is a candidate because we mentioned the crowded room. I look at, Pop Douglas is probably on shaky ground. You have Efton Chisholm there. There's a lot of redundancy maybe, but Kyle Williams did nothing last year. He showed you some physical flashes. Like, he is an NFL body. He's got NFL speed. He was the one guy in a year where Drake May was working with everybody. He was the one guy that was always like, why? You went in May throughout. You went deep, and he was waiting for you to come back. He was never on the same page with them. Now, could that improve in the future? I guess. But, I mean, you go up to someone and say, how many catches did Kyle Williams last year? How many are going to know the answer is 10?
Not many.
You know how many playoff catches he had?
None.
2 for 14 yards. Now,
I would have taken the under.
I'll give him credit. 1 was nice. It was a 4th down conversion against the Chargers. Kind of forgotten because that game was kind of a mess.
Yeah.
He shook the corner. He got open on the sideline. 2 catches for 14 yards on a Super Bowl run. He didn't have a role last year. I don't see it just magically playing out for him this year. So, again, I'm not trying to end the kid's career. I hate to be like Mr. Negative Nancy, but if you're looking at that logjam, I don't see just because they spent a 3rd-round pick on him a year ago that he's locked in and is definitely going to be on this team.
So I'm going to have a hot take rebuttal with a technicality.
Okay. Let me get a pen.
I guarantee you Kyle Williams does not get cut.
Okay. I think I know where
he'd get traded for a bag of balls.
Or
because these NFL peeps like to cover their asses and they don't want to say I cut a 3rd-round pick, a day 2 pick in his 2nd season. So I believe that's what happened to Duke Dawson. There was a corner that sucked that Bill was going to cut.
Was he a second round?
I believe he was a second-round pick, and he got traded to Denver. Instead, they were getting rid of him.
Yeah.
If they couldn't trade him, he was getting cut, but they were going to save face and not cut him. I think they will Elliott Wolf and Mike Vrabel, and they'll save face by like a conditional swapping of 7th-round picks if you take Kyle Williams, so we don't have to cut him.
Traded by the Patriots with a 7th-round pick to the Broncos for a 6th-round pick.
See, that's Kyle Williams right there. That is what will happen. They'll send something, and you'll get Paul George back in a bag of balls.
And I did mention this, I was asked on TV, I was put on the spot, the lights were bright, and I said Kyle Williams. And Andrew Callahan was also on, smarter than me.
Did he call you out?
A little bit more measured than me, perhaps. Said, might be a candidate for the Foxborough flu, which I think is probably, something would have to. But, we've seen nothing be a season-ending injury.
Oh, absolutely.
So I'm not saying I know that's going to happen, but to me, the point is, I don't have high hopes for him with the Patriots this year.
I don't know how you can. I don't know how you can look at a receiving core that has A.J. Brown and Romeo Doubs atop the group, which, first of all, if they loved Kyle Williams, would they went out and spent money and traded a first-round pick for 2 receivers? I don't know about that. I don't know if that's great roster construction. Pop Douglas has been productive. Mac Hollins, has been productive. Does a lot. I don't think you want to just kick him to the curb for nothing. Josh McDaniels likes him. I think there's reasons to keep him. So it's your guy, Booty. If the quarterback has a vote, Booty's going nowhere, right? Is that safe to say? If the quarterback is given
100%.
a vote, came in second in the MVP young quarterback. If he has a vote, Booty stays.
100%.
So Kyle Williams, the flu, I don't hate it. Maybe a year from now, you actually might need him as a 4th receiver.
Booty is 6 months older than Kyle Williams. So it's not as if you have this... It speaks to how young Booty is, and just the fact that there's not. If the case is those two, I don't think there's any case.
Yeah, the more we talk about this, and we didn't really plan this.
Nope.
The more this is such a really interesting position. Like this is where probably, maybe the offensive line is interesting in its own way because people aren't sure. Like another little note today, Lomu, the 1st-round pick, was at right tackle. Morgan Moses took a few reps off, so he was out there with the first group. And I'm not saying he's taking first-team reps, like he didn't earn them. Vrabel has talked very openly that Morgan Moses is on the veteran, we'll figure it out plan, and we're still figuring exactly, but he took some reps off. And so you have a first-round tackle. A lot of people want to replace Will Campbell. Like, that's just the reality. A lot of people want to replace Will Campbell. Maybe you will, maybe you won't. A lot of people doubt Elijah Vera Tucker because of his health, not so much his ability. Actually, Jared Wilson was raving about the teammate, called him the dancing bear, California swag.
Swag.
Yeah, he was all in on Vera Tucker. But the offensive line's an interesting position, but it's not sexy. It's still always the offensive line. Whereas receiver, you're talking about like playmate. You're going to cut Booty? You're going to cut a guy who's Drake May's favorite receiver? So this might be the most interesting position on the team as we go down through August.
Most interesting on the plus side. I think the edge, and I don't think we're going to be the first people to address the topic. It's concerning, and there was a Harold Landry question to Vrabel beforehand.
Yeah.
Where he kind of was like, I don't know. I guess the paraphrase it was like, I don't know. I'm not gonna project where he's gonna be come the season. I don't love the fact that Harold Landry's still recovering from last year's knee injury.
Nope.
Not great.
No.
And the fact that you're insanely thin there. You did apparently sign Gabe Akis today. Maybe that'll help.
Allegedly.
You're going to need him to play 100% of the snaps, it seems like. And then, there's a lot of positive Elijah Ponder.
That's
reporting.
my guy.
Yeah, a lot of people.
You want a hot take? Double-digit sacks.
Did
that feel hot? Am I coming in
toasty.
hot with that?
If you said 7, I'd be like, I see it.
Yeah.
He made some plays last year.
10.
He had the sack in Tampa. Remember that one?
Yeah.
It was his first one, I think. He really came on second half of the year. Made some plays. He had the fumble recovery in Denver. Got to Stidham one of those. Like he hit it.
The hot take doesn't sound so hot the way you're talking it up.
10's a lot.
10 is a lot.
He's no Mark Anderson. So
10 that's right.
It takes a great player to get to 10.
And he doesn't have someone on the other side who's going to help him get said 10 sacks. But he does have the guys in the middle. He does have a couple big uns with Williams and Barmore eating up. You're coming around to the hot take that is Elijah Ponder 10 sacks.
But I just feel as though we all like Ponder and what's there, but the amount that could be thrust upon him is insane. Like they're in such a bad spot there that I think those are your two the two sides of the scale. You have your wide receivers, like that's great.
Yep.
Are you gonna sack the quarterback ever? Like that? Those are your two balances there.
You want a big time transition here?
I would.
You know where Elijah Ponder would fit in? Fenway Park with the Boston Red Sox, the try-hards, because sometimes greatness comes from unexpected places, and your Boston Red Sox continue to win baseball games. Did you know they're no longer the third wild card? They're actually moving on up. The second wild card in the American League. The Boston Red Sox continue to win. They continue to defy doubters like me, and they continue to give good reason for them to be buyers at the trade deadline. And if Jimmy Stewart's right, extend Craig Breslow, a guy who like 3 months ago we all thought was a clown and going to be run out of town. Do they need to extend Craig Breslow and take the interim tag off of their manager, Chad Tracy? Red Sox, wow, are they good? Wow, is it sustainable? We'll touch on it next year on 98.5 The Sports Hub, Hart and Hurley on a Saturday. You want a hot take? Double-digit sacks.
I mean,
did that feel hot? Am I coming in
toasty.
hot with that?
Boston's home for sports. One team, no matter what player, no matter what coach, no matter what game, it all happens here. 98.5 The Sports Hub.
Got him! The Red Sox keep rolling. A two-run eighth to put them on top. And maybe the start.
Rolling. Now, we may need to tell you, because you may not have seen it, because we can play the role of like the crotchety old people on the radio if we want. Because I'll be honest, I don't have Apple. So
Okay.
I did not watch the game last night.
It's one of the things I can say that makes me like Gen Z. My mom has Apple, so I get it from her. Like, otherwise, I'm not sure I would either.
And they did win. Anthony Siegler, 4 hits. So continues to be the guy at the top of the order to set the table for them. And, they, as I said, they're now in the second wild card spot. They continue to win. The streak is gone. And there's always that worry, right? You lose the streak, something falls out, and all of a sudden a different type of streak starts, and maybe midnight strikes, pumpkins, blah, blah, blah. You go, this is still a baseball team that I'm not really sure that they should be winning the way they're winning. But this happens. We see this in other sports, other cities. Like sometimes the sum of the parts, or the freaking early Patriots. Pioli used to always say, like, we're not collecting talent, we're building a team. And those aren't the same thing. And this team is winning baseball games to the point where I'm reading all these lists, Nightingale and all these people. Red Sox going to be buyers. They're going to go get a shortstop, right? Will they? Are they going to go get a 20 home run right-handed bat, maybe a catcher, different things? Where are you? Because it's the first time we've worked together during this sort of span of, oh my God, the Red Sox are suddenly good. Where are you on the believe meter?
I think big picture, like, was it anomalous to win 15 in a row? Obviously, but I think they lost a little more than they deserved to lose earlier in the year. Like, are they a win 3 out of 10 team? Like, no, they're a little better than that. Like, the pitching and defense has been good enough that they probably lost a few more than they should have. So were they a 14 games under 500 bad team? They were probably more like an 8 game under 500 team. So I think right now where you're at is you're balanced and you're back to the start. And the question is obviously what comes of it. Can it be sustainable? I have one super concern about it, and that is you have Peyton Tolley pitching more than he ever has in his life. You have Connolly Early already hurt, pitching more than he ever has in his life. Jake Bennett, you're pushing him in a way that you never anticipated when you got him. You have Sonny Gray, who's on the opposite side of that, who's over 36, I want to say. His last 2 second halves have been worse than his first halves of the past couple of years. Can you get that elite pitching through the end of the year? Because without it, I'm not sure. Even if they go out and get a bat, there's no one out there that's going to be the savior. There's no one out there that's going to change your lineup and your entire offense. So to me, that's the one concern laying out. It's like, if they keep pitching this way, obviously they're going to be in the mix. I just wonder what's going to happen if the bottom drops out of that. You're in big trouble.
So who gets the credit?
Breslow built a heck of a pitching staff.
He did. The lineup stinks, or stunk. I guess it doesn't stink anymore, but he didn't really build this one. This one kind of fell into place out of necessity.
Yeah, it's interesting because the goal and the plan, like, you have to go with what was the president of baseball, the chief baseball. I always call that the big boy with the big pants.
CBO.
I'm the chief baseball man. What what was his plan? And it was Roman Anthony to be the man.
Yeah.
And he has not been the man. He's not been present at all. They had to ship him down to Florida to get him out of the way.
He was still on the programs, by the way, Roman Anthony.
Oh, yeah, he's on everything. He's the cover boy. He's like, you watch Nesson, like when the graph flies across, it's him in crochet, and you're like, oh, that didn't really pan out.
You know, the fact that he has guys, rather like Anthony Siegler, I think they're 20-7 when he's in the starting lineup.
That's awesome. I would put that on my gravestone. In the summer of 2026, the Red Sox were 20-7 when I was in the lineup.
And I remember in that Colorado series, which was rock bottom, when they hit the 14 games under 500, he got a double. It was like the 7th inning. They were losing by like 4. And he's like doing a pump-up thing to the bench. I'm like, buddy, no one on that bench even knows who you are.
Right.
And, you know, egg on my face. Siegler's been sort of a spark. He did, if you watched last night on Apple TV, he was the post-game interview. On-field interview with the Apple TV reporter. So it's been incredible. I think our job is to obviously sort of, I mean, it's been magical, everything you want to say. The job is to not get swept up and sort of see what might lie ahead. I think they're good enough to win. Can they win a series against Toronto? They should.
Yep.
Can they win a series against the A's? They should. Can they win one against the Dodgers next weekend? I wouldn't take them in that if I'm a gambling.
Why not us? Why not now?
Fair enough. But, you know, they're still what they are. But the second half of that, I'll finish. I've been rambling. The second half, the American League stinks.
Yes.
So can they compete in that? They really should. They really ought to.
So I've boiled this down to one simple thing, and this is what I do. Some guy on Twitter told me I'm a simpleton. I took it as a compliment. If they play representative baseball at Fenway Park over the second half of the season, they should be a playoff team. They were 17-27. That should never happen. The Boston Red Sox at Fenway Park, the granddad, the most beloved ballpark in America, and the home, and the tarp's off now. Now you even have sort of a different life there. The greens, the Fenway greens on Friday, like all of those things. You should never be that far below 500. You should never be below 500 at Fenway Park. So just play normal Fenway baseball over the second half. You should be a playoff team, right? Even almost regardless of all the other stuff, trade deadline, pitchers, who's coming, is Crochet coming back, whatever. Just play decent baseball in front of the good crowd. You're going to have a good crowd. How about the doubleheader the other day? They get rained out, and then they got the day game. It's not always easy to be like, oh, I got to change my whole life plan schedule to go to a day baseball game.
People with real jobs have to go to them.
I mean, I wouldn't know. I would have been available to just go to the game the next day, but no, they had a good crowd. So am I oversimplifying it to say if they just play good baseball at Fenway Park, they probably could be a playoff team just on that?
Yeah, probably. I mean, 500.
Yeah.
81 wins should get you in the playoffs the way it's looking right now. Like every American League team that is above 500 is in the playoffs.
Right. So
that's what it'll take. 80, maybe 83, maybe 84. Right. You can sneak it. Now the bigger picture thing is, what does that get you? Because there is a problem with this organization in resting on its laurels. Because in 2021, they'll tell you they almost made the World Series and act like that is an accomplishment. Like it used to be, we won the World Series. Now it's well, we almost made the World Series, and they didn't really. They lost the ALCS, and I think the last 23 innings they were outscored like 17-4. Like it was, the Astros clearly established themselves as a better team, and there's been nothing since then until the playoffs last year. And there has to be a concern, like, is just making the playoffs as a third wild card, is it going to satisfy that ownership group to be like, well, we're doing all we can, when we know that they're not? And that's what I think. There's sort of, you want this team to be good, right? You want them to make the playoffs, but are you sort of stuck in a blender of mediocrity if that's good enough?
Let's go to the phone line, 617-779-0985. Tim in Nashua has a thought on the Red Sox catching situation. What's up, Tim?
So it's been 8 years since they had an actual major league catcher. With the future of this pitching, it's not only a good investment, but I think that would catapult them not only into playoff contention, but to shore up that position. You watched Wong last night. It looked like he was tied up a couple of times, and there's a couple of catches that are available that would benefit them not only now, but in the future.
Who you want?
I want both, but that's not going to happen. I want to hear what you guys have to say and who you want, because they're both good hitters and great behind the plate, which would be perfect for the situation of their pitching right now.
It's funny, too, because
Thanks for the call.
Last year, probably around this time, you'd pack up the car, you head to Fenway, you go in and you see the lineup and you see like Carlos Narvaez is your cleanup hitter. Like that's where they were a year ago. The fact that you're at this point, it didn't go well. He had a hot couple weeks, but yeah, no, you could definitely. And Hunter Goodman is probably the better name there. Langoliers isn't far behind. Just someone who could give you some threat at the plate would certainly help.
So I pose this. First of all, who was he referencing was the last real catcher? 8 years ago.
Must be Sandy Leon or David Ross. Shout out to them. That's immediately who I thought of.
So Vasquez, he skips over. Narvaez last year, who people seem to kind of fall in love with last year and have fallen a little bit out of love with this year.
Yeah. Sandy Leon in the World Series year, right?
Correct, yeah. I think that's where he's going all the way back to. But Vasquez would be a good example, though.
Okay.
Grab Vasquez, great defensive catcher.
The one thing I keep bringing up with this, because this is a common thought with Red Sox fans, go get a real catcher, go get a catcher who can have some pop. Like, those guys are available. You could do that. Is there any concern about the pitching staff? Didn't we just say that they've been great pitching all year long? All year, and different types. Young pitchers have had good years. Old newcomer pitchers have had good years. You want to totally sort of disrupt that whatever continuity. And we know, I'm not talking about these guys, but we know a lot of pitchers are a little weird about that, right?
And some of these guys, for sure.
Right.
Yeah.
So I'm not saying I wouldn't do it, but there is some risk there in terms of being the battery mate of this pitching staff.
That's fair because, again, it's the best thing you've got going is the pitching staff.
Right. So do you want to screw that up? I get you're trying to make your team better. But in doing so, are you undercutting the one strength that's been consistently your strength all year long?
And you used to have a guy that could possibly, on the coaching staff, who could possibly help smooth over any midseason transitions.
Well, he was reassigned, so can we just assign him again? Reassign him back into the dugout?
He was lying in wait, and it seemed as though it was a matter of time before he'd be back in Jason Varitek. But based on the fact that it's turned around, I'm not so sure about that.
Interesting. We need to get to the coaching staff changes, and that would include the current manager, the interim manager, Chad Tracy, very good AAA manager. And I stand by that. And I'll explain that next here on 98.5. Andy Hart, Michael Hurley on a Saturday afternoon.
Boston's home for sports. 98.5. Boston sports. Yeah, we got that covered. 98.5, the Sports Hub.
I'm not in a rush to take away the interim tag. I don't know. I mean, maybe it means something to him personally, but I don't think that it keeps him up at night where he's sitting there being like, man, what don't they see? Why aren't they removing the interim tag? He's thinking about the next game. He's thinking about the next at bat and all that. I think he's pretty locked in at this point. I think he knows deep down if he does a good job, if they make it to the postseason, that he's got a pretty good shot of having that interim tag removed. And I think the unspoken piece of all this is that a lot of the interim tag getting removed hangs in the balance of Craig Breslow's job security. Because if Breslow is still here, I think the interim tag gets removed. If Craig Breslow is not here next year, then the Red Sox might look at it as, all right, well, we've had some difficulty filling this position, and I'm sure some of it had to do with the fact that there was already a manager in place, and people want to put their own manager in place. So that's probably the biggest part of it, and unfortunately, it has nothing to do with Chad
Tracy, the interim tag, and how it may be tied more into the future of Craig Breslow than it is tied into the success he's had as a manager. Because I think if you just go by the numbers, he's your manager, right? He's earned it with his production on the field, right?
Yeah.
I mean, if you ask a guy to win and he wins,
and if you're going to keep this roster building philosophy, then yes.
Yeah.
If you want to go back to being the Red Sox, perhaps not. I don't know that he's a great manager of huge stars and big egos, but that might not be a problem here because you're going to be a slap-happy 220 hitting team that's going to scrap together their wins. He's a good manager for that.
And that's exactly what I was alluding to going to the break. And I don't want this to come off as a shot because he's done a really nice job, but he's sort of managing a AAA team at the big league level. He's not having to deal with Manny Ramirez and David Ortiz and Bill Miller batting ninth, you know what I mean, and managing egos and Nomar, and he's kind of managing a lot of try hard, prove it type players, which is kind of the epitome of he just went into the Woo Sox Hall of Fame, right? Didn't he? In the off day, went to the Woo Sox Hall of Fame. And I agree with that. He does a great job with that. But you're right. If you want to go back to being the big swinging you-know-what in Boston and sign or trade for my dream trade. Have you heard my dream trade?
I don't know. Hit me.
So you seem dubious of them making the playoffs because they could get exposed if they get to the playoffs, right?
Oh, I'm dubious of them making a playoff, making anything happen in the playoffs.
What if I told you, part of my scenario is Garrett Crochet comes back in time for the playoffs. So
Sure.
you have an ace.
Must happen.
To pair up with Sonny Gray and the rest of the staff that remains. But at the trade deadline, you helped out the San Diego Padres. You took a bad contract off their hands. In the era of a new CBA, which could include a salary cap, boy, is that Xander Bogaerts deal ugly. They want out from under that so badly that a team willing to take Xander Bogaerts could get a gently used Mason Miller, the most electric closer in baseball, which would then set up for my little playoff series scenario. Crochet gives you 6, Whitlock in the 7th, Chapman in the 8th, Mason Miller in the 9th. You advance to the next series because you're that damn good.
You could win a 3-game series with that pitching staff.
Another happy customer here at the Crazy Hearts Trades.
Have you, though, being the minor league manager you just mentioned, have you informed Aroldis Chapman that he'll no longer be the closer?
No, that's what Chad Tracy's here for.
That's what I'm asking.
Or maybe Andrew Bailey. Andrew Bailey's got a little... do I pick up on a Mike Vrabel-like cock of the walk with Andrew Bailey?
Yeah, there's a lot of confidence.
Yeah, so, okay, you wanna saunter out to the mound like you do? Next time, tell Chapman he's not only getting pulled from the game, he's getting pulled from the job of closer.
Yeah.
I think you could win a lot of baseball games with that bullpen.
Last night you saw Chapman actually move past Dennis Eckersley.
Yes.
9th all time.
Eck was in the booth 2 nights ago?
The night they lost, Wednesday night, yeah.
And he actually brought up not wanting to jinx it, and they lost.
Well, at least it wasn't a blown save. But yeah, no, I think to make that happen, and this is where the trade deadline could get exciting.
I hope so.
I'm not opposed. Now, granted, if you were able to get Mason Miller, no one should be opposed. But I'm not opposed to still trading Aroldis Chapman.
Oh, that's a different spin here.
Depends what you get. Because, listen, he has been great this year. Last year, he was otherworldly. You kind of, at a point this year in June, you were like, you got to trade him now because his value is peak.
Yep.
He's shown some fallibility since then.
A lot of guys get on second base before he gets the save.
He loves to walk a guy, just like to warm up.
Yep.
He comes in with 80 pounds of sweat pouring off. I think the grip might not be there, whatever it may be.
Make it interesting.
I still think you get a lot for him. He's a 38-year-old closer. He's been on a million teams. Like I don't see anyone shy. If you think you're a closer away, you're going to give something up for him. And I wouldn't even hate it if it's someone not quite ready to be a major league impact player right now. I'd be patient. Now, if you could also get Mason Miller, then that's a no-brainer.
You kind of have to.
I don't think
I don't like your plan if you get rid of Chapman and don't replace him with a closer.
You don't like Whitlock, and now tough night to ask because he did give up the run last night.
Yeah, I don't, and I do like Whitlock. I just don't necessarily want him as my close. Either way, I'm weakening my bullpen. In my theory, he's in the 7th. You got him in the 9th.
Yeah, well,
that's a change.
The glow up, if you will, of Tyron Guerrero has changed the dynamic there. Where you went in thinking it was going to be Slayton, Whitlock, Chapman. You've got Guerrero in there now, throwing 103, controlling it, which was his big concern. You don't want to give away your all-star closer, but I guess it's still my lack of belief in this team having a World Series run in them that I'd still be okay with that one because I still think you have such needs. You're going to have such needs up and down this roster offensively. Basically, I want to say your whole infield.
Yep.
It's not panning out there the way you thought with Meyer. You're going to need some more enforcements. Arias is too young. He's still 20. I don't hate it.
Yeah. Do you think we're going to be I'm dreaming big.
Mm-hmm.
I've had others dream about Fernando Tatis, Lindor. Like there's a lot of names out there that you can dream big. Are we setting ourselves up for disappointment? Or are we even a Chapman trade is a big deal. I need to see how it unfolds, but it would qualify as a big trade if you get rid of Chapman. Are we teasing ourselves looking way up here and then kind of reality is going to be way down here for Bresbot?
Probably. I mean, think back to last year. We were talking Joe Ryan. The Joe Ryan thing was a done deal. Fox Sports tweeted a graphic out and everything. Then you end up getting Dustin May.
Yeah.
And it was like, oof. You go back to the year before, it's Danny Jansen. And you're like, that's not.
I had to Google him.
Yeah.
I don't want to expose myself, but they were like, oh, we need a right-handed power-hitting bat. And they're like, Danny Jansen. And I'm like, who the F is
third catcher?
Yeah, like
catcher?
a backup catcher is the guy we're like counting on. Like
I am
Who's Langolier's backup? Who's Goodman's backup in Colorado?
I am grateful though. I was able to witness baseball history. I was at the game when Danny Jansen was on the Blue Jays, suspended in the second inning, traded to the Red Sox, played for the Red Sox. So he's the only player, I believe, ever to play for both teams in the same game.
Look at you.
Rick Rude, WCW, and pre-taped Raw on the same night.
That will help you someday in some trivia contest or something, Sporkle or
It'll
something
be like
online.
Final Jeopardy. I'm finally going to make it. And they'll be like, you know what? We're going baseball.
And you will be like, yes, I was
Danny
there.
Jansen.
Lived it, loved it.
They're like, oh, sorry, you misspelled it.
Yeah, but you still get the money, right? They give you a little liberties with the spelling.
Yeah,
I think so.
It's telling, not spelling.
The ESPN Power Rankings are out. Post-NBA shakeup, which obviously includes Jaylen Brown and the Boston Celtics, but also yesterday's announcement, LeBron, the commissioner, can settle down and can figure out his Christmas Day games and all his national TV games. LeBron is indeed going to Philly. We need to break this down because I find these power rankings interesting, not so much for where they have the Philadelphia 76ers, who are obviously the talk of the NBA, the hot new team. You have people debating, do they have the best starting five in the league? Can they win a title? All of these things, which I think we can get into, is on the table. Where do the Celtics rank? How good or bad are the Boston Celtics after trading their MVP candidate from a year ago? We need to talk about my guy, JB and the Celtics, next here, Sports Radio. 98.5 The Sports Hub. Michael Hurley, Andy Hart, Saturday afternoon. Celtics back after this.
From the Town Fair Tires News. Dutcher and Hardy, Owen Beetle, Felger and Maz, the Bruins, the Celtics, the Pats, the Revolution. This is Boston's home for sports. WBC FM at HD Boston. 98.5 The Sports Hub, a Beasley Media Group station. Sports Hub headlines.
It's officially football season with the Patriots taking the field for the first day of training camp today. Owner Robert Kraft spoke with the media and said the team has offered a contract to Christian Gonzalez that would make him the highest paid cornerback in the NFL. For what it's worth, Gonzalez did participate in the practice session. Elsewhere, the team did sign second-round pick Gabe Akis, according to Jordan Schultz. The Red Sox won last night. They're back at it pretty soon over at Fenway. Sonny Gray versus Dylan Cease between the Red Sox and the Blue Jays. And the Revolution, they get to work tonight. They will host Atlanta United at Gillette. That match starts at 7:30, and you can catch that one right here on 98.5 The Sports Hub. Sports Hub headlines are brought to you by Awaken 180 Weight Loss. Don't put off losing weight this summer. Reach your goal during the easiest season for weight loss. Awaken 180, the official weight loss program of summer. And our previous Sports Hub headlines were brought to you by Safety Insurance, providing comprehensive coverage for your auto, home, and business. Ask your independent agent about safety. I'm Michael Hurley. More Hart and Hurley right about now.
Actually coaching the game, or it's just that is. I feel so strongly about that. I can't even tell you.
Boston Talk Sports here.
What do we got?
Sports. In this town, sports happens 24/7. We're Boston's home for sports. 98.5 The Sports Hub.
I want to, join a franchise that kind of shares the same, Bible as myself, and that's like practicing championship habits every day, but trusting the process more than anything. I think when you trust the process of actually getting to that point. I've been saying to trust the process since I was drafted in like 2003. I don't even know if MP was even born.
Just a little over a week ago, and then no, I've been saying that for years. Well, maybe it was a Easter egg or a Marvel-like thread that you needed to pay attention to because, yes, LeBron James is joining the 76ers to fill out their starting lineup that now includes basically all-star caliber talent, Hall of Fame caliber talent. He's joining the guy with the nickname, some games he'll join the guy with the nickname, The Process, in Joel Embiid. And this is really, it's funny because it seems like there's surprise here. I keep seeing these national guys surprised, and as soon as JB went there in that trade, I was like, well, that seems like that should be on LeBron's radar. My first issue here is this. I'm rooting for JB, and I hate LeBron, so I don't know what to do.
Okay.
I seem torn. My second is putting myself, there's not multiples of me, just one, in the shoes of Philly fans. What do you think about your new guy coming in and saying, oh, yeah, but I'm going to live in a different city? Apparently he's going to live in New York and play for Philly. I don't think I care for that.
No, and he's probably going to have a spectacle with him everywhere. This is the LeBron farewell tour, right?
Yeah.
So it's going to be a whole thing. There's going to be production crews.
Yeah.
Every press conference will be a spectacle. So that's certainly a thing. I'm curious, though, because I don't think you're alone. I bet there's a lot of people listening. Big JB fans. Big LeBron haters.
Yeah.
What do you think is more likely to happen as the season plays along, that you start to grow some contempt for your former love and Jaylen Brown, or LeBron might start to grow on you?
LeBron grow on me.
Really?
Absolutely. Yeah.
Even in year 58 in the league, you think this is the time?
Yep, because my love for we've been through so much over the years, from the boos on draft night to Tatum joining the party and being anointed the next big thing, pushing JB to the back seat, and the ups and downs of that. I've been through it. I've been through it with him over the years, the highs of winning, the lows. I sound like Tatum's Instagram, like from the early exits. So, yeah, I think there's a better chance I actually find myself, and I may not admit this, like fist pumping like a LeBron 3 that helps them win a game. And I am, this may, a lot of people were all in on Tampa Bay. Tom Brady goes to Tampa Bay. Gronk ends up going there. They were all in.
You might be looking at one of those people.
Yeah.
I loved that year.
I think this is more interesting because I think the possibility for the Philadelphia 76ers starts with, at the top, an NBA title. So I talked about it. ESPN currently has them ranked as the 5th best team in their power rankings. That would be behind the Thunder, the Spurs, the Knicks, and the Nuggets. Okay, so they're a title contender if all things go well.
And interestingly, the Nuggets moved up from 6 to 4. So they have improved since whenever they last did power rankings.
That is interesting. And I don't really know why.
Me neither.
And I didn't even really notice that.
I
until
just
you brought
saw it
to my
now.
attention.
And it's like, well, they leapfrogged the Sixers when they got LeBron and Jaylen Brown. But all right, fine.
And I mean, LeBron left the West, but he's not LeBron anymore.
Right.
He's like a shell of himself. So, yeah, that's an interesting subplot to this. But the 76ers, I think, could win a title. And the JB fan in me is rooting for that because if he collects a second ring, gets in where he fits it, that's all great. Great story, fun, cool. LeBron gets a title in another city. That might be nauseating, but whatever. Okay, now people are going to tell me he's better than Jordan for yet another reason. All of that.
What city will he shout out into the, Cleveland? Is he gonna live in New York City? Is that where?
Yeah, he's going to live in New York. I feel like that's being underplayed here. The city of brotherly love he doesn't want to be in. He does not want to be there.
He's too big for Philly.
You're right. You're not big enough for me. I'm too good for you. I'll come play games there in your nice little city, but then when I want to sleep or go out or make money or do things, I'll be in the real city. Oh, by the way, of a team that we have to go through to win a title. That just happened to win a title.
Yeah. And do you think on a back-to-back, he's obviously not playing the back-to-backs, do you think he'll be there or do you think he's going to be back in New York?
Probably back in New York. I hate this. I would legit hate this as a Philly fan, but you're selling your soul. You guys are all in. The process is now fast-tracked to win a title this year kind of thing. Isn't the opposite also true? Isn't the other end of this, couldn't this be a spectacular failure? Embiid gets hurt. JB doesn't get along with anybody because he's telling Embiid that he's soft and he doesn't work hard enough and he's not really hurt. He should be back out there. LeBron, he's like, no wonder your son is with the Lakers. Like that little fire comes back up. Maxey is like, wait a minute, this is my team. What are you doing here? Like, I think that Nick Nurse is like, I don't know what to do. They gave me a lot of talent, but this is a mess. Couldn't this fail spectacularly?
It could, and I'm thinking, remember back, might have been, I'm trying to get the year right. It was in the late aughts when the Eagles were
Vince Young called them the super team.
And they had, what did they had Nnamdi Asomugha, I feel like they signed. What made them a super team? I don't remember exactly the details.
Because Vince was a backup quarterback. He's like, if I'm a backup on a team, then you must be really good.
Yeah, no, incorrect. So that team ended up failing spectacularly. And in retrospect, you're like, well, that roster wasn't that great.
Right.
I'm wondering if we are sort of overlooking a lot of those concerns because, Maxey is a bona fide star on his own. He's a number one on his own. They just beat the Celtics in a playoff series with him being the guy. And I know Embiid coming back was probably the X factor.
Yeah.
But, I mean, let's be real. Maxey is the young star on that team. Edgecombe on the come-up might be like, I would like the basketball so I can make a contract in the NBA.
Yep.
You guys, you mind if I get the ball? And, Brown at this point, I don't want to insult present company. Very good basketball player. rightfully ranked 6th last year in the MVP voting, in the all NBA.
Feels like we're going down Insulting Boulevard.
The ego might be outsizing the player just a little, not tremendously, but to come on after having a embarrassing playoff series and say this was my favorite season of all time showed you that the mindset isn't necessarily championship driven at this point. So this has the chance to be a problem. And what if Embiid doesn't play? Like, that's always a possibility. What if September comes? Like, hey, he's out for 6 months. That happens.
Oh, it's absolutely a possibility. Absolutely a possibility. And that's where I think, and the JB thing is just, so everybody assumed this could happen in a way. They were like, he gets his chance to be the guy. It goes well, and he's like, well, I told you I was a number one. I want to go be a number one somewhere else.
Now you're number 5.
Right. Like, I don't even know where he fits in, and I will say, if you believe in JB the way I think I have to believe in him as a fan to kind of keep this going, you believe he will, what did he say, give up a lot or sacrifice a lot. However he phrased it, He'll sacrifice, and he'll figure out what his role is on a nightly basis, in part when is Embiid out there? Oh, he's not out there. Is LeBron out there? Oh, they're both not out there. Like, they're both sitting out. This is back-to-back. They're both whatever. Can he do that? He absolutely – he has done that for portions of his career in Boston, right? With JT was always the chosen one. Gatto Green, I call him. He was always at the head of the table, and then all the other pieces around them that they've tried over the years when they were building these various forms of elite teams, JB has kind of had to been the amoeba, right? Kind of figure until last year when it was like, oh, I want to believe it's going to work because I do hear all these whispers. And not all the stuff's public, but people are like kind of crapping on JB behind the scenes, and JT wanted him gone, or these
the analytics.
The analytics, or he went off script.
He'd be what, the 9th best player on a team,
right? He's no Peyton Pritchard. All these things.
He's no Hugo Gonzalez either.
No Ugo. Can't trade Ugo. We can trade JB if you want Giannis, but you want Ugo, Shire? No, we're not doing that. This is as interested as I think I've ever been in a non-Boston sports team. I really believe that.
Yeah,
and the beauty that they play, like they're in, how many times they play?
6 times.
6 times. Yeah. Like that also adds to, like, I can watch this 6 times and root for JB to score 30 and shut down Tatum.
And I got to watch every Sixers-Knicks game. Like it's rare to feel that need to watch, that must watch. I wonder though, because we were talking about this a little earlier off the air, I believe. What is LeBron now? And more specifically, how many shots, as we talk about ego, how many shots is he going to need on a nightly basis? Because he had 15 shots a game last year, which was a career low. Still averaged, what did he averaged? 20.9 points. I feel like if you're LeBron, and even if you are dedicated to rebounding and passing because you're one of the best to ever do it, don't you still kind of need 20 points to feel like it's worth you being in the league?
I don't know. When you so openly say you made this decision about a championship, like he's on the record, right? He and everybody on the record, this is about a championship. And also on the record that they weren't even on the consideration meter until JB arrived in Philly, which is a nice little fluff up for JB.
And I'm not going to live there.
And by the way, I love the team, hate the city. Liberty Bell, not all that cool, going to New York with the Knicks still barely done celebrating a championship parade. He should embrace it, right? Like, if you're going to tell people it's about a championship, and Nick Nurse, which is another factor in this, like, you got kind of a big job ahead of you. I hope you know what you are in for here. Shouldn't he be like, what's his career? Do you have LeBron's numbers up?
I do.
What's his career high for assists in a season?
His career high for assists, I don't have it sortable. 10.2 in 2020.
Okay.
2019-20.
I think his goal should be to lead the NBA in assists, or like fluff up assists. Like, just say, I'm going to be that point forward dude, and just say, and like puff your chest out when it works.
Maybe like 9 rebounds, 10 assists, and then what?
Like flirt with a
points?
triple-double. No. Flirt, perfect. Flirt with a triple-double, so every night you're like 10, 12 points, 9 rebounds, 9 assists, and they fluctuate, but you're always right there. Like every night you're flirting with a triple-double. If you, and it might be a way for him to kind of pull some fans in, people that he rubs the wrong way, people that stat chasing type stuff.
It's a good take because at this point, if you're doing an all-time great discussion, right? And if you're doing the Jordan LeBron thing, are you going to go to points per game? Like, you really aren't ever going to, and he's done enough. Like, the hay is in the barn on LeBron's statistical career. A championship adds to the equation.
And another championship late, and maybe suddenly we're starting to hear stories about how LeBron is bringing the team together, how LeBron has gotten Embiid and Jaylen Brown on the same page, or how he was able to, kind of work with Maxey and be like, this is just temporary. You the man. Mm. We know you the man, but this is temporary. Let's just have a little fun for a year here, win a title. I think he could do his image, not his stats, his image, a strong service moving forward.
You are right about that. Can he actually do it, though?
No.
Can LeBron James do it?
Because he's nuts.
Because he's LeBron James.
I think the first indication of that is simple. The New York thing. I'm not going to live there. So you think you're better. So this isn't just about, like, fitting in and taking the best opportunity. Like, you can't suck it up for not even a full year. And when did Philly – I know they got a lot of culture down there, as the old commercials used to say. But, like, is it the worst place?
It's like a baby New York.
Is it the worst place to live?
I don't know.
Is
Probably
it
not.
I mean, I got to think Oklahoma City's worse, right?
Yeah, top one.
I got to think Indiana's worse.
Salt Lake City seems a little boring to me.
So, like, I mean, it is a legitimate city of the Northeast. Has some history.
You wonder, because it felt like the LA move was made with, he started doing movies, right? He was in that one with, what's her name?
Space Jam.
Space Jam was like his vehicle, but he was also in the comedy movie. Can't think of it. It doesn't really matter.
He was in a comedy?
Yeah.
I don't think it did well.
I don't know.
It's not really registering on my radar.
Killing me, the LeBron James comedy movie. Ready?
Was it? It was like
Trainwreck. Anyone?
I didn't see.
Amy Schumer.
Okay.
Missed that one? I missed it too.
Must have been a cameo.
But it feels like the New York thing, the Knicks weren't going to fit him in. The Knicks weren't going to sign him. He wanted to be in New York. The next best thing.
Yeah, like
it's nearby.
617-779-0985. We see your phone calls on Jaylen Brown, LeBron James, the 76ers. Can it work? And where do the Celtics fit into this story? Because we talked that ESPN ranks the Sixers as the 5th best team in the NBA. Where do the Celtics rank? Are they still a legitimate contender for, I don't know, the Eastern Conference, a title? Are they not even a playoff team like some, me, have suggested? Where do the Celtics fall in the NBA hierarchy? And your phone calls next here. 98.5 The Sports Hub, Hart and Hurley on a Saturday.
Boston's home for sports. 98.5.
Was not even on this radar, was not in the pool of candidates, and Bob Myers went out and got Jaylen Brown. That changed the equation. The Sixers got on the map, and from there, it became for LeBron James now of almost 4 weeks of deliberation with LeBron James, Rich Paul, that inner circle there, and his family eventually, but trying to figure out what is the decision going to be based in? Is the decision based in, a legacy story in going home with Cleveland? Is it based in kind of that middle ground where there is legacy with the Miami Heat? There's also a very good contending team there potentially with Giannis Antetokounmpo and Bam Adebayo. In Cleveland, we know there's Donovan Mitchell, James Harden, Jarrett Allen, Evan Mobley, but he really had to sit with it and figure out what does it look like going to Philadelphia. Are you going to live in Philly? Are you going to live in New York? Where are you going to live? What are your living conditions going to be there? Do you want to play with these players? We know, over the last year, there was a back and forth with Jaylen Brown and LeBron James. They seem to have patched it up in their public comments, and I know those two sides have had some level of communication, whether it's Jaylen Brown to Rich Paul, or in some form or fashion, there being communication between all of those sides. And so LeBron James was able to make a decision literally based in figuring out where he feels like he has the best chance to win a championship.
That was Shams with a lot to say there, actually, if you really want to parse into it. So first of all, JB, congrats. You put the Sixers on the map, not only for the rest of the NBA, but for LeBron James. He was like, wait, is that little city not far from New York? That's that little team, that little...
cute city, right?
Cute little city, right? A little history, a little culture. I also wanted to ask him there. So Shams says, what are his living conditions going to be? Wherever he goes, he's going to buy a multi-million-dollar mansion / condo, penthouse, whatever you want to call it. Doesn't everywhere have nice houses?
I did see yesterday, it came up on my algorithm somehow, some Jersey realtor posted a picture with LeBron.
Yeah,
so I'm sure he has multiple outposts.
Yes. And the other part is you're a more worldly guy than I am. I
don't
can
know
tell
about
that
that.
already. No, I can tell that already. How does it work commuting from New York to Philly if you're a professional basketball player?
I think you go through the sky.
Like helicopter or
Yeah.
something?
Yeah.
Must be nice.
You see that one at the practice field today? Just
I did.
Parked there for an hour as everyone's trying to do their work, do
I
their
always
stand-ups.
assume that's Robert, right?
I would assume so.
Is there anybody else that's in that, like, the copter's waiting for me?
Gonzalez, maybe.
Oh, I like
They-
the way
they
you're
whisked
thinking.
him away.
$100 million men can probably rent some helicopter time.
That would be quite the show.
Wow. But yeah, I was just like, it's that bad in Philly that you want to commute from New York, whereas most people would do anything to avoid a commute. Try, like, buy a nice house in Philly. It's only for easy. You're right. I've changed my mind. This isn't going to work.
Yeah.
If he's not willing to live in Philly, he's not willing to do what it takes to make the Sixers a championship team. This is going to be too much for my guy JB to overcome. LeBron is now an albatross around the neck of the Sixers.
So it's 95 miles. What's 95 miles from Boston? Springfield? No, it's more than that.
That's a long way.
Yeah.
95 miles is a long way. 95 miles is like Connecticut. You could probably get through all of Mass and Rhode Island, and you're down in Connecticut somewhere.
Let's see. Live calculation. Boston to Hartford is 100 miles. So call it about the same.
Yeah.
Now, if you were playing for the Hartford team, I could see wanting to live in New York City.
Yes.
Philly, slight step up from Hartford, I would say.
Yeah, this is a PR absolute terrible move from him. Just live in Philly.
Now, not confirmed, right?
No.
It's just reported.
Kind of reported, but seems like maybe sourced reporting, even if it's not acknowledged.
It's not like Bobby Basketballs on Twitter. It's Shams.
Not just throwing it out there. 617-779-0985. Before I get to your calls, I did need to pay off the tease. The Boston Celtics are the 9th best team in the NBA, according to ESPN's power rankings. Michael Hurley reacted facially. Now he's going to do so verbally. What do you think?
Yeah, not surprising. So you have the Knicks ahead of them in the East. You have the Sixers, of course. Then you have the Pistons. Then you have the Cavs. And I don't think that's right, because ultimately the playoffs are what matters. But you have a Celtics team, right, that had Jaylen Brown last year and Jason Tatum missing for 2/3 of it, 3/4 of it. Not going to do the math. Now you replace Tatum for Brown. You got a year of experience under, a guy like Ugo. Queta has a little bit more experience. You add Mitchell Robinson, who does something. He can rebound. He can give you some tough minutes.
He does something.
He's going to give you about 20 minutes before he fouls out. But I don't see them losing a bunch of regular season games all of a sudden. I think they're still going to be a top 3 team in the East in the regular season. What that means is sort of nothing. So if that's what we're doing for power rankings, fine. But I don't know. Behind, what was that, 5th in the East? That seems low.
Yes. So I think they, on paper, are supposed to be a better basketball team than they were a year ago, right? They're supposed to be better. You tell me, all you people out there, tell me that Jason Tatum is better than Jaylen Brown. So your number 1 is better than your number 1 a year ago. Paul George is there.
Is he? I'm not convinced he's going to. I haven't heard anything from Paul George.
Haven't really, you're right. And the closest thing we heard was to Brad kind of alluding to he'll only be here a year and like making him turn down his player option. Like, you're going to make it so hard on him here that he wants the hell out. What is he, LeBron? He doesn't want to be here anymore? Yeah. Like, weird. But no, like, Mitchell Robinson he does things, as you said. Your young players had a certain role a year ago. They should be better. They should be more equipped. Like, you should be a better basketball team this year. So I don't actually believe that to be the case, because I think Tatum is going to struggle by himself. I think this is going to be a weird year this is a careful what you wish for Tatum year. You're now the man. You lost Robin. It's just Batman riding in the Batmobile by himself, feeling lonely, and he has a flat tire, and now he's on the side of the road, and no one's there to help him fix the flat, and all of those things. So we'll see. But they're still a top 10 team, according to ESPN's power rankings. 617-779-0985. Let's go to Sal and Groton for a thought on Jaylen Brown. What's up, Sal?
Hi, guys. Great conversation on this subject. And I'm going to find it pretty easy to root against the Celtics this year. And it's really not against the Celtics, the team, but it's really against public equity being ownership in professional sports. I don't believe it belongs there. And I really resent the Grosbecks basically screwing Tags out of the deal, and I think screwing the city of Boston on a better owner in order to get a little bit more money. And then we're facing private equity, which its goal is to maximize profit, which is often contradictory to the goal of a professional sports team, which is to win. So I don't think private equity should be in sports. I think they should be viewed as custodians of the public trust as owners. And this private equity thing really just pisses me off.
Thanks for the call, Sal. This is probably a deeper discussion than for late in a Saturday afternoon program with Hurley and Hart. But is there validity into these arguments, sort of for the Red Sox, too? This is what people have been arguing about the Red Sox and now, obviously, the Celtics.
And I never want to create an out for billionaires not to spend money, because this is money we can't even comprehend properly. But I think this is more of an NBA second apron thing. I don't think it's exclusive to the Celtics, in that for like a decade we had Warriors Cavs. That was your final. There was no reason for training camp, preseason, regular season, because you knew your finals teams, and they wanted to get away from that. So I understand it. I understand the messaging, but now you look at what is doing to the Celtics, and you do everything right. You draft 2 stars, like you bottom out sort of for a year. You get your draft picks. You get rid of your stars. You build a team with your nucleus, and then you get to a point where you're like, well, we can't afford them both. And I think already the Spurs just reached this level last year, and people are already saying, well, you're going to run into trouble there. The Thunder, it's like when you do it right, you should be rewarded in some way. But the NBA has constructed it as such so that there's way more parity, so that, I don't know, is the payoff in your mind better that you don't know, come the playoffs, there could be 8 different teams that make the finals? Or would you rather, I don't know, I kind of like the super teams.
Yeah, well, especially if the super team is built around a core
like
of
Warriors.
homegrown.
The Warriors did
Yes.
it right.
The Warriors, the Celtics, Oklahoma City, like these teams. And I do think there's an element of this that the Celtics are the guinea pig. They're sort of on the forefront of all these new decisions. And obviously Brad was lobbying for, what did he want? Like the 35% cap guys to only count 25% if you drafted them, and blah, blah, blah. Like basically a Larry Bird rule. You used to have the Larry Bird rule in the old cap where you could overpay to keep your guy.
Right.
Let's have something like that again. My guess is they're going to do something like that, because it's not good, in my opinion, for all these teams. As soon as they're right, like either win or on the cusp of winning, people are already talking about, well, you know what they're going to have to do? Tear it down.
Right.
That's bad.
You have Wembanyama be like, I'll take less money. And it's like, that shouldn't happen. There's no reason that should happen. I think maybe if we were to pinpoint anyone in private equity, knock yourself out, like a worthwhile enemy, it might be Kevin Durant's fault. Because Durant joining the Warriors seemed to be sort of a straw that broke the camel's back. Because before that, the Warriors were a beautiful team. The ball movement, the magistry, had the best shooter of all time, et cetera, et cetera. And then Durant just sort of signed up, and it felt like sort of a bridge too far for some people. But I think the unintended consequences, like, I don't know. If you can draft Jaylen Brown, who's an all-star, and you can draft Jason Tatum, who's better than that, who's, a first-team All-NBA kind of guy, you should be able to keep him.
Yeah.
You shouldn't be in this spot.
I think forcing your fans to prematurely or really ever talk about tearing a team down is making it hard on your fans, is making it unfun. Sports are supposed to be fun, right? They're supposed to be an escape. Like, in your life, you have to prepare for home, things breaking or home repairs or retirement or like all those are, and this is the same mindset, right? This makes you bring a real world mindset to something that's supposed to be escapism and fun. You just want to talk about, could they go Mason Miller? Like what I was just doing with Mason Miller. That's what sports is supposed to be. Lusting after, dreaming about big name players coming, not
having a CPA come down. Well, actually, you can't get Mason Miller because of this rule and that rule.
No. We're trying to have fun here, and I don't need you to tell me that optionality is better than the guy who finished 6th in the MVP voting, a guy who carried your ass to 50-plus wins, a guy who carried your ass to the number 2 seed. Anytime you need to tell me that optionality, which I don't know what that is, never heard the damn word until Brad Stevens said it. Anytime optionality is better than an all-NBA player, that's stupid. That is a stupid plan. And that's what the NBA has created here. I think they'll fix it. I don't know when it comes and how that works. And, do they create rules? Do they pull the plug and start over on the whole thing? But I think they created a beast that they didn't really know what it was going to play out as.
Which is tremendously unfortunate timing for the Boston Celtics.
Oh, yeah. No question. Because you can't go back and, retroactively be like, so do we get JB back? Is he on the team again?
Yeah. Right as they hit their prime, it's like, well, it's blown up.
Yeah,
Sorry.
it's awful. 617-779-0985. I like where John in Braintree's brain is at on LeBron. What's up, John?
Hey, long time, first time. Listen, this LeBron team, it isn't going to work. Let's be honest here. We saw James Harden on the 76ers. What happened to that? You tell me.
Didn't work.
It didn't work at all because James Harden needs the ball all the time. You know who else needs the ball all the time? The diva, LeBron James. Him with Joel Embiid, get Tyrese Maxey on there, and when I need the ball, I need to score. It's not going to work. They're just going to be the first round in the playoffs and get bounced like they did this year.
Thanks for the call, John. You know what's good about that for me, again, as a JB fan? Some people could have used that argument on JB. You know who always wants the ball? You know who's not, it's not going to work? JB. So now maybe LeBron can be the guy that takes the blame when this blows up, and JB can just quietly either stay in Philly or go on to his next team and try to make it work there.
It is crazy. I can't wait to watch. I can't think of an NBA team that has inspired me in mid-July to be like, I can't wait to watch them.
Yeah. I don't watch, maybe I shouldn't admit this. Oh, you're supposed to watch every sport at all times. Yeah, you talk on the radio. I don't watch a lot of non-Celtics NBA games randomly. Football, obviously I do that.
I'll watch the Saturday night one. You know, they'll put the stars on there. But on a Tuesday, I'm not watching Sixers Heat.
I'm now
watching this year.
If the Sixers are on, I will be. I might have to get a JB jersey. I might have to get a Jaylen Brown Sixers jersey.
Their jerseys aren't great though.
No, they're not, and I think that's what holds me back. If
kinda
it were a better jersey, I think I'd get it.
Because did they go back to the full Iverson motif, or is that a temporary thing? Because the blue, the blue filla, you're kind of like, that's okay.
I'm not this is a total side.
Yeah,
the partial
filla.
ATL, all these ones where they do the partial, I don't really like it or get it. And I don't include the Patriots on there because NE is short for New England, and that's sort of part of it. But I think that's a Nike thing. I think that's an alternate thing. Like when you have to come out with a new city jersey every year.
Right. It's a lot.
A lot of brainstorming there.
Boomer take.
Yeah.
Say you go to a bar and there's an NBA game on. Most of the time, you don't know who's playing anymore because it's like, I don't know what a team that's green is wearing purple.
That is true.
It's crazy.
And they're probably on a crazy court as well. You're like, I don't know, what court is this?
And I'll tell you what, they never call traveling anymore.
What are your thoughts on Sophie Cunningham and Caitlin Clark? You want to get into those? 617-779-0985. Hart and Hurley rolling along. Final half hour here if you want to join the conversation. We are talking about the fact that Jaylen Brown and LeBron James once seemed like they might be enemies, frenemies, whatever it was there. Now they're teammates looking to make it work in Philly. But we also need to get back to your New England Patriots because Christian Gonzalez is the topic of the day. Because according to their owner, they made an offer that he shouldn't be able to refuse. And yet, we don't have reporting of a deal. So we'll get back to Christian Gonzalez and the massive amount of money that might be on the table for the all-pro cornerback in New England. 617-779-0985. Hart and Hurley on a Saturday. Like what I was just doing makes me. That's what sports is supposed to be. Lusting after, dreaming about big-name players coming.
Boston's home for sports. 98.5 The Sports Hub.
If you...
Celtics, the Patriots, the Sox, the Revs, and you. We're Boston's home for sports. 98.5 The Sports Hub.
Christian Gonzalez. Any thoughts on that as you enter camp?
We love Christian Gonzalez. We love him as a player, as a person. That's why we've made an offer to him that makes him the highest paid player ever to play that position in the NFL. And coincidentally, it's the highest contract in the Patriots franchise history. So we're glad we drafted him and he's developed here, and we hope he'll be with us for a long time.
And I don't think we've made enough of this, and you were so right. You touched on this, but I think we can touch a little deeper. Probably shouldn't say that on the radio.
That's another drop for you.
Yep. Mike Reese just asked a very generic, open-ended, Robert, go wherever you want, whatever your PR talking points are here. And Robert Kraft used that opportunity to say, we've offered him more than any corner's ever been offered. In fact, coincidentally, more than any Patriot. All he didn't do there, he might as well have said, and I don't know if you know, we've had some pretty great players here like Tom Brady, Rob Gronkowski, names like that, some of the greatest at their positions, and we just offered this guy more than we've offered any of those guys. That was a little bit strange.
Yeah, it was strong. It felt, I still take it as we've done what we can. The offer's on the table.
Yeah, I don't like that mentality, though. Like, we've done what we can. So what does that mean? This is your last and final or whatever, final,
Right.
Best and final?
And it's not, not breaking in. Here's something that maybe I'm creating. You tell me if I'm crazy. To me, you sign the guy now because there's zero reason not to. You ruin your season if you mess this thing up.
Absolutely.
And if you run into financial issues next year because you got to pay Drake May and you still have A.J. Brown, et cetera, you can just trade Christian Gonzalez because the Jets did it with Sauce Gardner 4 months after he signed the deal.
Right.
And they got 2 first-round picks for it. So to me, this is a player who's going to have tremendous value. The hang-up then, if this were the case, what's in that signing bonus? How much of that money is being paid this year?
Right.
If you don't think he's going to see the end of that contract here and he wants that money now, how do you negotiate that if that's where it is? But I still think it doesn't matter because they're waiting for Witherspoon.
I agree with you on the Witherspoon part, even though Mike Vrabel totally shot down and poo-pooed the idea that Witherspoon and the Seahawks have anything to do with it. You didn't believe him. I didn't believe him.
I mean, he couldn't say yeah. Yeah, we're waiting for Witherspoon to sign. Then we'll
I
sign.
feel like maybe just be a slightly honest, like, yeah, the market's always changing in sports, and sure, agents and teams use comps, and that's a part of the process. It's a small part of the process, but
say we're trying to get it done.
We're trying to get it done, and I think both sides are working in good faith, and hopefully we're advancing. I don't know, something like that, to just poo-poo it, and especially for a guy who, I don't know if you've heard, has a history of poo-pooing things that later were proven worthy of more than poo-pooing. But your whole scenario, my problem with it is you shouldn't have to worry. It's the National Football League. We're just talking about the frickin' Celtics moving on from great players and it's a different beast right now in the NFL. They print money. What's the latest? Teams are handed $453 million to start the year before anything else. $453 million check comes in, and the cap is $300 million. So you do the math.
Yep.
You should have a budget. Forget your ticket sales, your concessions, any of that stuff. You should have a budget where you can fit in great players.
Yeah. Well, I want to be clear. I have no sympathy or softness for a billionaire not willing to spend the money on the players, whenever that may be, even if you don't see it to the end, because it's all monopoly money. It's all pretend. It's all play.
And this isn't like a what was that year the Red Sox went to the World Series and then they signed like Steve Pierce. They gave everybody contracts.
After 18, they gave Sale an extension. They signed Steve.
Right.
Anyone that touched a baseball for the Red Sox in 18 got a new deal that winter.
This is not that. This is Christian Gonzalez, elite young player, and on the horizon, Drake May, super elite young player. You're not forcing, for example, A.J. Brown. You may have a discussion point a year from now or some point with A.J. Brown is looking for a multi-year extension at $30-something million a year. I'm happy to have a discussion about that. Bad knee, aging, whatever. This is homegrown. You needed a star corner. You nailed the star corner. You needed a star quarterback. You nailed the star quarterback. Sign them.
Right.
I actually believe in the NFL, maybe better than any other league, the sooner you sign them, the better it looks, or the better the contracts keep going up at such a high rate that the sooner you get it done, the sooner he's no longer first on the list, he's fifth. Now, that can come back around and bite you at some point where he wants to renegotiate. But, you're not overpaying him. In fact, people will be like, wow, Gonzo only makes $32 million a year when so-and-so's making $40? You got a great deal on that contract.
Right. Every time that new deal comes, you're like, this is absurd.
Right.
And then within a couple of years, you're like, oh, yeah, not bad. But I think this is inevitably when you have this conversation on the air, someone's going to call him back. He signed a contract. He's got to honor it.
Right.
To me, this is the tax or the flip side of the safety that the league gave to these owners with the draft slots. Because you could draft a player at 6th overall and he could be a total bust. And now that doesn't cost you $100 million anymore. It costs you the same amount whether he's a star or not. But the issue is when you get through year 3 and it panned out and you hit, this is when you have to pay them.
Right.
I don't think there's any other way to get Christian Gonzalez on the field this year other than paying him right now.
I agree. Even though, as we mentioned off the bat, we were boots on the ground. We were down at Foxborough Gillette. We were sitting there. We were taking notes.
Did I get any sunburns?
You actually don't look bad. I know
Okay.
you were complaining that you thought you got a little too much sun. I think you look fine.
All right. I put the SPF 60 on.
I don't
so
think,
that saved me.
because I often get yelled at. You go home from one of these and your wife's like, what the hell's wrong with you? Why do you look like a lob? Well, I kind of forgot to put sunscreen on. I don't think you're going to get a single comment
Good to
about,
know. Good to know.
you know, you're a father, you should know better, those types of things, sunscreen and all that.
We pulled it off.
Yeah. But we were down there, and Christian Gonzalez is on the field. Christian Gonzalez is bouncing around. Christian Gonzalez in 11-on-11. Christian Gonzalez is in, and yet, I mean, the owner basically said we haven't reached a deal.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I can want to believe the deal is done, but the owner, almost in a perturbed sense, kind of said we haven't reached it. We offered, right? But it's not done yet type
We've
of thing.
made an offer to him that makes him the highest paid player ever to play that position in the NFL.
So that's on the table. And then we even had, and I don't mean to put you on the spot here, George, but the Drake May bite, and we can listen to the whole thing if you want, but he was asked about Christian Gonzalez. But in there, he actually acknowledges that they were in the locker room and they weren't sure what was going on with Christian Gonzalez before he went out on the field.
I think that shows his main focus, and that's football. You know, he's the best corner in the league, in my opinion. He's he's not the big rah-rah guy. He does it his own way, but he does it at the highest level. So I'm glad to be his teammate. Around the same age, and he was, I tell him, Will, that he's my rook because I was first round pick and Will's the next. But Gonzo's someone I look up to. Even at the same age, I look up to how he does things, how he handles himself, and just his swagger he has in his own way. I think it's great to see him out here playing around, and I think you saw it in the locker room before. Everybody was wondering what's Gonzo going to do, and he's coming out here and first play he's guarding AJ in man coverage. So that's the Patriots.
I look up to him in the way he handles things, said Drake May, who a year from now will have enough tenure in the National Football League to be eligible for an extension. That, Robert Kraft, I can guarantee you will be the largest contract offer you've ever made in the history of the franchise.
By almost 2x.
Yes. You are talking about 7. So I actually took that as a good sign for long term, that Drake May looks up to Christian Gonzalez and the way he handles himself. Now, the one fly in that ointment for my little theory that it's good news for next year because Drake May will be on the field with or without a contract. What if this doesn't go well with Christian Gonzalez and he learns from it? He looks up to him and how he handles his business, but if that is that really sort of mentor relationship, maybe the corner's like, hey, I made a mistake last year and went on the field without the deal done. Don't make the same mistake I did.
And I wonder, where could this go? Gonzalez can't not participate now, right?
Nope. I mean, he can. We talked about Judon. There can always be weird, how come he's standing on the sideline now? How come he's not doing anything? And, various degrees of participation type stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know. This is a really interesting situation because it seems like he wants to sign. Like, I don't think he's angry. He just wants bleep you pay me kind of stuff.
And it seems like the Patriots want to pay him.
Yep, and the Patriots want to pay him, so much so that they've offered him more than anyone that's ever played the position or for their team. And yet they're not done. And yet it has nothing to do with Devin Witherspoon, another corner from his draft class with the same agent, who's a higher draft pick waiting for his own contract. I'm starting to just not really understand why it's not done.
Right. And I guess, it just seems inevitable that you'll hear the Witherspoon report say, I don't know, what's today, Saturday? Tuesday night.
Oh, you're predicting Tuesday night we got for Michael
Seahawks
Hurley.
sign Witherspoon, and what's going to happen Wednesday afternoon?
Patriots sign Gonzalez.
It just feels like it has to happen. But in the meantime, we obviously, the specifics of it have been so mysterious.
Yes.
You'd think there'd be some leak. And to the point where Kraft just comes out and says it and just sort of says the loose parameters of the deal. It's the details where someone like Gonzalez is going to want to be. He probably wants what? 101 guaranteed? Is that what it is?
Absolutely. And he'll want that either way.
Yeah.
Or it might change when it's Witherspoon. It might be 104 or 106, 108, whatever it may be. I also wonder, I asked you earlier, do you think there's anybody in the football side of things at Gillette that heard these comments from Robert Kraft and were like, oh, I know you're the owner, but what are you doing?
We're trying to negotiate here, Robert.
The flip side, though, is there someone in the Gonzalez camp that says, that's not really accurate?
Yeah.
I don't know what he's talking about, but I've seen the Trent McDuffie contract. You didn't offer something that's better than what Trent McDuffie got, or whatever, vice versa. Are they sort of...
Yeah, if it's 32 a year, but it's 86 guaranteed.
Yeah. Well, that's not the same contract.
No.
Because we know these contracts aren't worth the paper they're written on in the National Football League.
The difference is, correct me if I'm wrong, McDuffie was signed after year 4.
Correct.
So that would be fair, honestly, if they guaranteed less, considering the Patriots are giving up essentially 3 years of control.
Yeah.
This year, the 5th-year option and a franchise tag year.
McDuffie was a year old and had to be traded to get his money.
Yeah.
That's the other thing.
So if I'm negotiating from the other side, I probably would guarantee less because I'm giving up years of control. Now, granted, it's a very shaky ground to negotiate from because it's kind of pretend. We all know that. But there is, I mean, he's due what? $5 million this year, $3.5 million. That's never going to happen. The extent, I mean, the 50-year option is what, 27, and then you throw in a so if you were to combine those 3 years, you could say, we'll give you $15 million less guaranteed. I don't know who wins in that. It just seems like
it doesn't go well.
Tinkering
And then
for the sake of tinkering.
You look at a Sauce Gardner or one of these guys that's coming back from a torn ACL, and that starts to factor into your brain. That's why I'm the opposite of Mike Vrabel. I think the Devin Witherspoon contract is everything because I think it gives you a very realistic, valid comp. Whatever he gets,
draft year.
Yeah, I want more. Whatever he gets, I want a little bit more. Give me the premium, the 5%, the 10%, whatever it is, because I'm not McDuffie. I'm not as old as him and whatever. But that guy, same scenario as me. I'm actually a little bit better. Just want to remind you that. I'm actually better than he is.
He's good.
He's good. I'm great.
I'm better.
Absolutely.
Do you want one more Drake May take for the road? I'm here we're getting played out.
Hot Drake take on our way out the door. What is it?
Just hearing Drake talk there reminded me I was down there, as you mentioned, in the beating sun, and I'm looking at him like, what's different? And I'm like, oh, he kind of looks like a man now.
Oh, Drake.
Not a little boy anymore.
He's a man and the man.
He is the man. But don't forget how young he was last year.
What do you think he weighs? He was being very vague.
Don't ask him. He's going to say 225 on the
6'4",
sheet.
225. I might be 230. I might be 220. What do you think? It's up to you guys to figure it out.
I mean, he looked like Drake May. Just something about like his facial structure grew. You know, he was still growing.
Wow.
So Drake
like Barry
May,
Bonds' facial structure?
No.
Just checking. Just
natural
checking. Just
progression
asking.
of a man in his young 20s. So you thought he was good last year. He could be a little better.
All right, I'll give you one hot Drake take on the way out the door as well. Drake was awesome today. I thought Drake was really good. Drake May is going to have a better year in 2026 than he did a year ago, but not statistically.
Yes.
And it will create a weird debate where people are like, he's better. How come the numbers aren't better?
Well, his completion percentage is going to go down. His passer rating is going to go down. He's going to throw more touchdowns, though.
Correct.
He's going to throw for more yards.
But Drake May, day one, looking good out there.
You know
The
what I
wide
like?
receivers.
I liked Drake's pre-snap.
You like
in control.
pre-snap?
Yeah, that's what you could tell they want him. Like,
What about
change
that
the
last
play.
one? He said he held on to the snap too long, and I mean the count.
Yeah,
the
I'll be
cadence.
honest. I missed that one.
Yeah, I kind of did too.
Yeah, I was like, oh, he fumbled the snap. News to me, Drake.
Guess boots on the ground here wasn't as good as we thought we were.
We were thinking about lunch.
Yep. All right, that's going to do it on 98.5 The Sports Hub. We appreciate you listening, calling. George, great job back there, especially the Florida-Georgia line, and all those rejoins kept me in a great mood this afternoon. As I said, I'll be back at it tomorrow, 10 to 2. Gillette Stadium. Practice will take place. We'll have some interviews. I'm dreaming big, so I'm dreaming A.J. Brown. We talked to A.J. Brown about life in New England. Michael, this was fun.
It's a pleasure.
We don't hate each other. We
Nope.
both agree we're both hateable, but we don't hate each other.
Hope we get to do it again someday.
Absolutely look forward to it. Enjoy your Miller Lights. I know I will. Enjoy the rest of your weekend. Enjoying the Red Sox. And football's back, baby, and we're talking about it here on 98.5 The Sports Hub.
Boston's home for sports. 98.5